on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Fan Studios, here's CDOT.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You are listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Happy, delighted, excited to be here. I have a new couch. It has been dropped off. It has been delivered, Rob. I will not take another part of your day. Hey, Carrington, when you coming in? Well, I'm at Nebraska Furniture Mart. Well, I'm at Bob's Furniture. No, not anymore. The couch has been secured. Rob, when I threw my old couch into the dumpster yesterday, I shed a tear. I did not cry. I shed a tear. That's different. But I did it. I made it. I've come out on the other side. I have no more couch stories to share with you guys here on 96.5 The Fan. What I do have is Deontay Johnson thoughts. We'll get to that coming up in a bit. We'll find out if Darius Slayton is available. The Giants lost again, and we are exactly 1 week away from the trade deadline. I also saw a very interesting name to be rumored to be available. I'll tell you who that name is over the course of the show. I also have a couple of NFL stats with you guys that I want to share, and I might have an unpopular Chiefs opinion. I have so many thoughts today that I would like to share with you guys. I'm excited that you are here. We will get to those thoughts coming up after Rob gives you a chance to win a pizza.
Pizza time on The Drive. Carrington, dial me up right now. Call number 6, 913-586-7965. Call number 6 wins a pizza from our friends over at Pizza Tassio. Pizza Tassio is Kansas City's best New York-style pizza, and they have taken over the town. They lovingly use 100% whole milk mozzarella, all organic tomato sauce with locally grown fresh ingredients, all made by KC guys who both know and love pizza. They also have a killer selection of craft and local beers, plus unique wines. So, Carrington, whether you're hungry enough for a whole pie or just want a slice or two, be sure to visit them now at pizzatasio.com. That's pizza, Tascio.com.
I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day right here on 96.5 The Fan. Number two, I need you to tell one friend. I don't need you to tell two friends that if you want some of the best pizza in Kansas City and you are also excited that the Yankees are about to get swept out of the World Series, the best place to celebrate that is with us right here on 96.5 The Fan. All right, this is where I would like to start the show today. I'm sure by now you have heard that Deontay Johnson is off the board. So let me give you what the trade synopsis looks like. The Ravens have acquired Deontay Johnson. They are sending a 2025 fifth-round pick. They are going to get Deontay Johnson. They are also going to get a 2025 sixth-round pick. The Panthers are also paying down some of his salary. The Ravens are only going to owe him $625,000 the rest of the year. Initially, I was prepared to come on here and say, I think the Chiefs got the worst of the three trades. That's what I was prepared to say, what my initial reaction to this was. You guys knew that I really wanted Amari Cooper. I really wanted Deontay Johnson. I saw what the trade compensation was for Amari Cooper. It's more expensive than the other two options, but you get what you pay for. Deontay Johnson, this is nothing. That's what I was prepared to come on here and tell you guys at 2 o'clock. But that's not how I feel anymore after I've done some more digging, after I've done some more reading. We try to always ask the question why, and most of the time we try to answer the question why. Because this doesn't pass the smell test. Now that I know what the compensation is, wait, you were telling me that the Panthers are willing to pay $3 million for Deontay Johnson to go play for the Baltimore Ravens, and they are prepared to move up negligibly in the NFL draft. Now, you guys follow the NFL the same way that I follow the NFL draft. You were telling me that Baltimore, they move into the 6th round and they give the Panthers their 5th round pick. Well, we think that the Ravens are one of the better teams in the league, so we think they're picking near the back half of the 5th round, and we think that Carolina is one of the worst teams in the league, so they're picking near the front half of it. How much do we think that Carolina moved up in the middle rounds Rob, how many picks do you think it is? 12? 13? All right, sure. Let's make it a nice, easy number. Let's say that the Panthers move up 15 picks. Let's be generous here and say that they move up 15 picks. They didn't move up 15 picks in the first round or the second round. They are moving up 15 picks to move up from the 6th round to the 5th round, and they are willing to spend $3 million to go do it? Wait. Something's off here. Why would a team, in essence, give away Deontay Johnson? Well, now we got to go back here because this is now his 3rd team that he's played for, right? He was on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they traded him. Now he's on the Carolina Panthers, and they've traded him. Interesting. All right. Well, maybe this is it. Then I started to think of why. How did this happen? Why did this happen? Why is a team willing to give away a 28-year-old wide receiver that could have helped a lot of teams? This is exactly what I thought the Chiefs were looking for. A 27, 28-year-old wide receiver who is on his rookie contract who can come in and help. He makes all the sense in the world. But Carolina's giving him away to move up a couple of spots in the 5th round? Wait. Something's up. This is Mitch Holthus yesterday. This is what he said about DeAndre Hopkins. I'm thinking that this is it.
I've been very impressed in my brief discussions with DeAndre Hopkins. It's in Drew Tranquil. We can go right down the line. Justin Reed, our guest tonight on the Kingdom Show. These guys not only assimilate into your culture, they've enhanced the culture. And I really expect that with D-Hop, and hopefully Josh can do the same thing in the fact that these guys add to what you have.
I hit the wrong button, Rob, my bad. I hit the wrong button there. I hit the wrong button. I hit refresh. I wasn't supposed to hit refresh there. That's my bad. That's a fumble on my part. So what he was talking about, I'll just go ahead and tell it to you. I won't let Mitch Holthus tell it to you. He is talking about culture and how the Chiefs have clearly built a culture. And you know what, Rob? I have concluded over the course of the last 20 to 25 minutes or so. You know what I've come to? Deontay Johnson has to be really bad for your team's culture. He has to be really bad for your team's culture. You want to know how I know? A team paid $3 million to move up from the 6th round to the 5th round. They gave Deontay Johnson away earlier today. We don't want to deal with this player anymore. Here, you take him. That was the best offer that was out there. I don't want to hear that Carolina wouldn't have traded him to Kansas City or Carolina wouldn't have traded him to Buffalo. They trade him to Baltimore, a team in the AFC. And trust me, Carolina, they don't have any objections. This has to be a culture thing, right? He didn't fit the culture for the New England Patriots. He didn't fit the Panthers culture, which makes sense. I don't know if they even have one. And teams are simply saying, no dice. This is a move that I would have loved for the Chiefs to make or be in on. We're talking about less than $1 million. You can get him cheaper than you're getting D-Hop. You got him cheaper than even Amari Cooper for the rest of the year. We're talking $625,000 for the remainder of the season. And he was being given away to you. But not all deals are worthwhile. Sometimes things aren't what they seem. There has to be a reason that this guy was available. And then when I hear from Nate Taylor, Rob, did you hear that Deontay Johnson was only wanted to be traded to a team on the coast? Did you hear him say that earlier? Right when I was walking in here, that is what Cody Tapp said. Cody said, hey, Nate said that his preference was to be traded to the coast. Wait, hold on. You play for the Carolina Panthers. Now, I know that they're on the coast, but can you be in a position that you can be a beggar and a chooser when you play for Carolina? You've been a loser these last year and a half. You haven't played a meaningful game. You haven't caught a meaningful pass. Now at 28 years old, when you haven't really touched real money, you now have the ability to dictate where you're going? Very, very odd stuff. I think Deontay Johnson is a good player, but I think we have seen that sometimes talent is not enough. Remember, George Pickens was a player that a lot of Chiefs fans wanted them to go out and get. I think we can now pretty definitively say that George Pickens did not fit the Chiefs' culture and kind of player that they wanted. That already in a short amount of time, D-Hop, you're a respected veteran when you walk into that locker room. You got Xavier Worthy calling you Unc. You got McCole Hardman calling you Unc. Guys know your rap sheet. They know your pedigree. Deontay Johnson is coming in with the sense of entitlement when you haven't done anything. Is Deontay Johnson an all-pro caliber player? Is he a consistent Pro Bowl level guy? Is he a every year 1,000-yard double-digit touchdown guy? Is he a guy that is valuable in fantasy football? How is Deontay Johnson a bad locker room guy and you got the ability to try to dictate where you get traded to? You're not good enough to have all of these things. So you know what? Chiefs fans, to close this segment out, I want to apologize to you guys. We spent a lot of time these last couple weeks talking about Deontay Johnson. You know what? Deontay Johnson, it doesn't sound like it would have been a good fit. It doesn't. It doesn't sound like it would have been a good fit in Kansas City because he was available, and just based on all the details about it, he was available to anybody. And it makes sense why the Ravens did it. The Ravens, desperate to try to get over the hump, and they're willing to do anything to beat Buffalo, anything to beat Kansas City, even if that means bringing in somebody that's a little 50-50. And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. That is what we will see. But I think all the deck chairs have moved at wide receiver. Maybe Darius Slayton gets moved, but I think that's it now at this point. You thought Amari Cooper was available. Devontae Adams was available. D-Hop was available. Deontay Johnson was available. The big pieces have all moved around the board, and the Chiefs got their pick. They got the most veteran, the most experienced, the best producer, at least, over their career out of that group. And I think in a lot of ways, the most reliable receiver out of that bunch. I don't know if he is the best receiver out of that group. I still rather have Amari Cooper. And I think if you were saying everything is equal, Deontay Johnson is a better receiver than D-Hop right now. But there's more that goes into it than talent. And I think the Chiefs very, very clearly just told you, Deontay Johnson is not a player that we are willing to take a chance on. Coming up on the other side, Rob, let's take a trip to Baltimore, Maryland. Let's catch up with the Ravens after they have made an addition to their team. For a team that can't stop anybody via the pass, I'm a little surprised that they went wide receiver. We'll find out. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all the action. Because right now, FanDuel is giving all users 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beater is place any $5 bet on the NBA. I'm really excited to see if the Knicks can back up what they did a season ago. And even the MVP market, where Luka's the favorite at plus 330. If you're new to FanDuel, just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will automatically be charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering an online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait. This rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Right now, 38 states allow for sports betting, including 7 of Missouri's neighboring states. Amendment 2 gives Missouri sports fans the freedom to bet on games too, and that will generate over $100 million for our schools without raising property taxes. Amendment 2 is endorsed by the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and Missouri's 2 professional soccer teams, the KC Current and St. Louis City. These days, Republicans and Democrats don't agree on much. But the Republican and Democratic candidates for governor are both supporting Amendment 2 because it means more money for education. Amendment 2 isn't like the lottery. There's a strong constitutional guarantee. The new money from sports betting will go to our schools. $100 million for education without raising property taxes. Amendment 2 is endorsed by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and the Kansas City Star. Vote yes on 2. Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education. Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
This is the story of the one. As a warehouse manager, her job is to transform chaos into clarity and to see patterns where others see problems. Luckily, she's got a partner who shares her perspective. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products, backed by real-person support and in-depth online resources, so she can tackle every task with precision and turn potential setbacks into streamlined success. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact, every bite is better with Pepsi.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Using the Labor Day weekend to get some work done? We got you. Stop by any store to save on oil, fuel system cleaner, wipers, and more. Looking for an end of summer wash? We've got deals for that too. Don't want to leave the garage? Get same-day delivery on AutoZone.com. Do Labor Day your way by getting something done at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Rashee Rice. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
We have seen a lot of movement in the National Football League over the last 10 days. The New York Jets, they went out, they acquired Devontae Adams. The Kansas City Chiefs got DeAndre Hopkins. And now the Baltimore Ravens, they have acquired Deontay Johnson. Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Cordell Woodland. He is with 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. He is their Ravens insider. Let's learn a little bit more about the Ravens trade. Cordell, how you doing, man?
What's going on, Carrington?
Doing fantastic, man. Let's just start with this. What's your initial reaction? What's the Baltimore fan sentiment after the Ravens make a trade?
Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, I think it's a good trade, especially when you look at what the Ravens had to give up to get him. Really didn't have to give up a whole lot at all. The Ravens sent the 5th-round pick to Carolina. They got Johnson and a 6th-round pick in return. And the Panthers are eating pretty much almost all of his salary. The Ravens owe him $625,000 for the rest of the year. That, according to the Athletics' Jeff Zrebiak, who also covers the Ravens. So, I mean, it's a good deal. I think Deontay Johnson is a heck of a player. And if nothing else, the Ravens have always had questions surrounding their wide receiver depth. So I totally understand it from that perspective. I just hope this isn't the only deal that the Ravens have in their pocket, because this doesn't address any of their immediate needs for me, which would come on the defensive side of the ball. They need somebody that can get to the quarterback. They need help on the back end of that defense. So I like Deontay Johnson as a player. I just don't know if it necessarily makes me look at the Ravens and the outlook of their season any differently.
Yeah, that's sort of my initial take on it as well. I'm always for giving your quarterback more weapons, but this is an offense that doesn't really look like it needs too much more of a boost. That if you had told me today that the Ravens had made a trade, I would have assumed that they would have went out and got Marshawn Lattimore, for example, or a corner that they could just simply plug and play. I was a little bit surprised to see the Ravens try to get more offensive help.
Yeah, I mean, especially from the Panthers. I mean, there's a lot of talk out here in Baltimore about maybe a reunion with Jadeveon Clowney, who's in Carolina. So you think if they're doing a trade with the Panthers, Clowney would be the guy that would be involved in that. But, yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, look, I know this Ravens offense struggled this past Sunday in Cleveland. The receivers had multiple drops. Defense had multiple drops as well, which ended up costing them the game. But all in all, this Ravens offense has been far from their issue this year. They have one of the more potent offenses in the NFL. We know what they can do in the run game, but even in the pass game as well, they've been exceptional. So, look, it doesn't hurt to have another guy that can get open, and if nothing else, it's definitely an immediate upgrade over Nelson Aguilar when you look at their wide receiver 3. So you look at guys like Zay, you look at Rashad Bateman, who's really come on here over the last couple of games, and now you add Deontay Johnson with Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely and those guys. You like the weapons that they have, no doubt. I think this is the best supporting cast Lamar has had in his career to this point. I just wonder if Deontay Johnson is going to be prepared to do what it takes to be a Ravens wide receiver, which entails a lot of blocking, which entails games where you may not get the ball a lot of times. It's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? You're going to have to give up a lot when you're a Ravens wide receiver. You have to be able to sacrifice a lot of things in terms of your opportunities and targets, and sometimes you may have to block more than you want. So I just wonder how Deontay would deal with that.
That would be one of my biggest concerns, and I'll get to the other concern here in a bit. If you're going to be a Ravens wide receiver or a Steelers wide receiver, you're going to have to do some of the dirty work. Like, you're going to have to be willing to get your hands dirty a little bit. And from what we know about Deontay Johnson in his first 4 or 5 years in the league, he just doesn't seem like that kind of receiver. He doesn't seem like a Ravens kind of receiver.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm old enough to remember Deontay Johnson not falling on the fumble in Pittsburgh. I'm old enough to remember Deontay Johnson coming up with reasons why he didn't feel like he needed to block for his running back who was on his way into the end zone. And that was in Pittsburgh. And the Steelers culture and the Ravens culture are almost identical. So, Pittsburgh sent him out, not because he can't play, but because he no longer fit their culture at the time. And look, time heals all. Maybe he's matured and everything. I think that the Ravens, I would imagine they've done their due diligence and they understand what they're getting, and Deontay understands where he's going. But no doubt, that's definitely something that's on my mind, and I'm sure the Ravens thought about that as well before they pulled the trigger on this deal.
Right now, we're talking to Cordell Woodland for a few more minutes here. He covers the Ravens for 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. They're one of the top contenders in the AFC, and they also just went out and got Deontay Johnson. Let's talk a little bit more about Deontay, and I want to talk about you guys' weekend and the loss of the Cleveland Browns. You know that age-old saying that sometimes a deal can be too good to be true. It is very startling, the fact that Carolina essentially just gave him to the Baltimore Ravens. Carolina is not moving up that far in the draft, and they're willing to eat a significant portion. We just talked about this before you popped on, how important culture is, and the Chiefs have really established the kind of culture that they want to build. Deontay Johnson flamed out in Pittsburgh, and now Carolina is willing to give him away. Do you have any questions? And it kind of goes in line with what we were talking about willingness to block and doing those things. Do you have any worries of whether or not Deontay Johnson will fit the culture of what it means to be a Baltimore Raven?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I do. But, in fairness, there people like myself, maybe I don't know if I necessarily had major questions about it, but I'm sure there were people that had questions about Odell Beckham coming to Baltimore last year. And, he's not a typical Ravens type of wide receiver. He's pretty flashy. He's talkative. He's outgoing. He has a big personality. And, while the production on the field may not have turned out to be what they hoped for, Odell Beckham was great for the Ravens on the sidelines. He was great for them in the locker room. He was a great player to cover. Just as a media member, my expectation for what I thought Odell Beckham was compared to who he was when I actually covered him, night and day. I can admit that. So maybe the same will be the case for Deontay Johnson. But no doubt the questions are there. And, I mean, in fairness, you probably do have to wonder, and when you see he's coming from Carolina, like you said, they're not going anywhere. They're a complete mess right now. They're changing quarterbacks by the week. It's kind of a dead end. And with Deontay only having, I believe, this is the last year of his deal, Carolina's just trying to get out of there and get rid of a player who's clearly disgruntled and doesn't like the direction that the team is headed in right now. You just hope for Deontay he's not the type of player where everything has to be going perfectly for him to, stay in line. I just don't want that to be the thing that impacts where this Ravens team is going because, like I said, it takes a lot of sacrifice to be a wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens.
What do you make about this Ravens team? Because we have seen them go toe-to-toe with Kansas City and lose by a toenail. We have seen them dominate the Buffalo Bills. We've also seen them lose to the Raiders and the Browns so far this year. I think the one-seed conversation is done for Baltimore. They're 4 games back of Kansas City. It is not realistic anymore to me to think that Buffalo can be the 1 seed in the AFC. How is it one week that Buffalo can look like they're the biggest contender outside of Kansas City, and then the next week they can lose to the Las Vegas Raiders?
It's insane. And, the Ravens right now, I think everybody is just trying to figure out who the real version of this team is. I think offensively we know. Offensively, they have figured that out. I think they want to depend on the run game. They want to lean on Lamar and Derrick Henry. And for the most part, that's been the case. Even the pass game has been there for them. Offensively, I just don't think it's been a huge issue. Sunday was a problem. That was one of the few games that we've seen an opposing team pretty much out-physical the Ravens. It just doesn't happen on a regular basis, but it does tend to happen when they get into some of these AFC North battles, specifically against Pittsburgh and Cleveland. So not a huge shock there, and division games are always wacky. But, yeah, I mean, they've struggled with closing teams out, and defense is their biggest issue right now. I mean, they can't stop a nosebleed in the pass game. Jameis Winston and that Browns offense, which is kind of they're on their last breath these days. They just changed play callers last week, changed quarterbacks. They traded Amari Cooper. They had a left tackle who played left tackle for the first time in his life on Sunday, and they couldn't get a pass rush. They couldn't stop anything in the pass game. It was hard to watch. So they have to figure that part out. And with the trade deadline coming, that's kind of where we're all looking at for this Ravens team to see if they're going to upgrade on that side of the ball. Because offensively, yes, they're good enough to make it to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. But defensively right now, it's tough to see them kind of being able to be dependable in January.
I was just going to ask you if you think that they're done, if you think that they're done making moves. I'm with you. I think the Ravens probably need to make one more move. Either you go get a pass rusher, you go get Clowney like you referenced earlier, or you go get Marshawn Lattimore, a name that I threw out there. You know that organization. You know their temperament far better than I. Do you think they're going to make another move? Do you think they're going to dive back in that trade market?
I think they're going to try. I mean, I would be incredibly disappointed if Deontay Johnson was the only move that they made going into the deadline. I mean, it helps their wide receiver depth, no doubt about it, but it doesn't fix their biggest issues. And they need somebody that can get to the quarterback on third downs. They need somebody that can get to the quarterback in the fourth quarter. They need somebody that can make plays on the back end of this defense. Look, Dino Stone led his team in interceptions last year with 7. He's in Cincinnati. Patrick Queen been one of the more tackle machine players on this defense. He's in Pittsburgh. And Jadeveon Clowney, who led them in sacks last year, is in Carolina. So they lost a lot of production on that defensive side of the ball. And I didn't even mention their coaches that they lost as well. So I do think that Eric DeCosta is working the phones and is going to try to make something happen on the defensive side of the ball, because that right now is the biggest glaring need that I think is going to hold this team back to getting to where they want to be.
Right now, we're talking to Cordell Woodland for a couple of more minutes here, just getting his thoughts on everything. Let me get you out of here with the question about the Steelers. I have not been a Steelers believer at any point this season. You now look up and they're 6-2 heading into their bye week. Are you a believer in the Pittsburgh Steelers? Who do you think is going to win that division?
Well, I'm a believer in them in the scope of they can definitely win the division. And they can definitely be a tough out in the postseason, no doubt about it. This is a team that they're playing the way that they want to play, and few teams can play and win with the style that the Steelers do. And that's led by defense, which they have one of the better defenses in the league. I think they're second in the league in points per game given up. They have a rushing attack led by Najee Harris right now. And Russell Wilson has kind of awoken this passing game. They've been throwing the ball all over the field these last two games, albeit not against great defenses, but you got to go with what you have right now. And so I do think Pittsburgh's going to be a tough out. I wouldn't be surprised if they won this division. I still believe Baltimore is the more talented team, but talent doesn't trump all. So these two games against Pittsburgh are going to be very tough, and the Ravens already have a couple of AFC losses to their name already. They just lost a division game as well this Sunday. And they've struggled against Pittsburgh these last few years. So it's definitely not going to be easy. I do think the Steelers are a legit concern, and that's us assuming they're not going to make any moves at the deadline to improve their roster.
That is Cordell Woodland joining us on the show today. He's with 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. Just wanted to get his reaction as the Ravens have traded for Deontay Johnson. Cordell, great stuff, man. I'm sure I'll catch up with you down the line.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. That is Cordell Woodland joining us on the show today. Rob, have you taken a look at the Pittsburgh Steelers schedule down the stretch? Because the Steelers schedule the rest of the way, let me tell you, it is tough. So the Steelers are 6-2 right now. They're heading into their bye week. Their next game is on the road against the Commanders, so one of the more surprising teams in the league. This is their schedule the rest of the way. On the road at Washington, home against Baltimore, at Cleveland and Cincinnati, Cleveland at home, at Philly, at Baltimore, Kansas City on Christmas Day, and they end their season against Cincinnati. That's tough. They might have the most difficult second half schedule of any team in the National Football League. I don't have everybody's schedule right here in front of me. I'm just looking at Pittsburgh's schedule, but I dare you to find a team who their final 9 games of the season are more difficult than Pittsburgh's. So Pittsburgh right now sits at 6-2, and yesterday was an impressive win. I know the Giants are not the best team in the world, but that was a game that they controlled for the most part, and their offense seems to be a little bit more viable than a lot of people thought. Certainly I thought, and Russell Wilson has looked good in his last couple of starts. They are 6-2 right now, and their schedule really starting to strengthen. What do you think they end the season with? What do you think the Steelers' end of the season record is?
11-6. I think they're an 11-6 team. I think we talked about yesterday before, at the end of the show, before the Monday night game. I think the Steelers are what they always are. They are a great defensive team. And I've seen their defense, with arguably the best player on defense in the NFL, win games just on the strength of its greatness. TJ Watt won that Falcons game in week 1 by himself. I have seen that happen. But they have questions at quarterback. They have questions at wide receiver because they do not have consistent wide receiver play. And they just feel like their whole game plan is ugly up and muddy up the game and hope to win 24-16. And I don't know that's a sustainable model in the NFL in 2024. So I think they are better than last year's Steelers, but I still feel like they're closer to last year's Steelers than they are Super Bowl contender. They're an 11-6. Hey, maybe they pull an upset over the Ravens, or maybe it breaks their way in round 1 and they make the divisional round, and we all applaud them for that. But I don't see them on championship weekend. I don't see them as a Super Bowl threat. I don't see them as anything more than a plucky, feisty wild card team that you don't want to play because they're well coached, but you also don't really worry about losing to.
I want to play for you guys what Nate Taylor had to say earlier. He was on Cody and Gold. He was there to react to the breaking news that the Ravens have made a trade for Deontay Johnson. So I think all of the deck chairs, I think they've all been assembled, at least if you were talking about the AFC, Devontae Adams has been traded. Amari Cooper has been traded. D-Hop has been traded, and also Deontay Johnson. So a lot of movement at wide receiver over the course of the last couple of days. We'll see if there is another big move out there. We're going to head to New York coming up in about an hour or so to learn a little bit more about Darius Slayton, if he is still a trade possibility. But for the most part, if you want a big-time wide receiver, you have had opportunities over the course of the last couple of weeks. And if you ain't got one by now, I don't know if there are too many reserves and guys that are going to be able to help you. Here is Nate Taylor talking about the compensation that the Chiefs gave up for D-Hop versus what the Ravens gave up for Deontay Johnson.
Do me a favor. Do me right now. Like, we not going nowhere, man. And so the Titans being the first team to fully wave the flag instead of it being Carolina, or instead of it being the New York Giants, who, again, season's over, guys. I could have told you that 2 weeks ago. DeAndre Hopkins benefits from that. And so did the Chiefs, because they didn't have to give up as much, or, they made it a conditional situation, and they ate some money, whereas, obviously there's going to be a pick swap, and Deontay Johnson goes.
Yeah, it's a pretty light compensation on Deontay Johnson. Now, from what you heard, and you kind of laid it out there a little bit on the timeline, maybe Carolina wasn't willing to trade Johnson a week ago. But do you know, like, were the Chiefs truly interested in him?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done their due diligence, and they've picked their player that, again, as we talked about before, the most experienced player, the guy who's obviously motivated to help a team get over the top, the most sure-handed receiver available, and if he stays healthy, which is the biggest concern, he seamlessly fits into your offense. And that was something that I know you were in the locker room, Alice, but that was something that Travis Kelce told me specifically, was just like, oh yeah, this is going to work. And we only had him for like half the game today. So again, as long as he stays healthy, the trade will most likely be favorable to the Chiefs. Because he fit what they needed right now, whereas I thought Deontay Johnson could fit what they needed right now and moving forward.
Fair. I agree with what Nate said there at the end. A major reason that I wanted Deontay Johnson was the fact that he is 28 years old and his contract is expiring. And if you were thinking about 2025 or 2026, Deontay Johnson made a lot of sense to me. Obviously, the Chiefs disagreed. As I was listening to Nate, I wrote this down because I think it is very clear what the Chiefs valued and why they traded for D-Hop and why they didn't trade for the other two wide receivers. Trust. I like Amari Cooper. I don't know if you can trust his hands based on the information that we have. He has 9 drops this year. He's a little shaky warrior in the hands. I also just don't know if you can trust Deontay Johnson's temperament. Let's look at his track record. He got ran out of Pittsburgh. They chose George Pickens over him. They had both. They were not going to be able to keep both. One of them had to go, and it was him. So now he's out of there. And now in Carolina is willing to pay you $3 million to get off of their team. It's not even like the Panthers bought a great draft pick. It'd be one thing if you moved up in the second round. If Deontay Johnson got traded for a second-round pick and they moved up from a third to a second-round pick, that would justify spending the extra $3 million for a premium pick. Carolina just spent $3 million to move up from pick 174 to pick 164. The pick's not even worth $3 million. That's how much they wanted to get him off of the roster. That's how dedicated they were to making sure that he didn't play for the team anymore. So maybe I am projecting because he is a player that I wanted. The Chiefs didn't get him, and now I'm trying to justify the move. But when you look at the compensation, there were way more wide receiver needy teams than this. I know that they're not on the coast, but I looked it up. Deontay Johnson's from Tampa Bay, Florida. You were telling me that he wouldn't have accepted a trade to the New Orleans Saints to stay in the South? He wouldn't have accepted a trade to the Saints. The Saints have no wide receivers right now. You're telling me you're telling me that maybe Carolina just didn't want to trade him in the division. So New Orleans is out of it, and also Tampa Bay is also out of the conversation as well. But you were willing to give him $3 million to go play for another team and only move up just a little bit. Maybe you could have got a little bit more bang for your buck. I think it's a very, very interesting trade to send him to the Baltimore Ravens. Coming up in the 3 o'clock hour, we're going to head to New York City to learn a little bit more about Darius Slayton, and is he a possibility to be moved, as now it looks like that wide receiver trade market is starting to thin out. And coming up on the other side, you know what? I have a newfound appreciation for a group of people. I'll tell you who it is. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here for our new friends over at Heartland's Men's Health. I recently learned something. Did you know that half of the men over the age of 50 experience erectile dysfunction? It also can affect younger men. ED isn't just a medical issue. It can take a toll on your confidence and your relationships. And over at Heartland Men's Health, they believe that ED is treatable, and their expert team offers up solutions with a success rate that's over 90%. You can enjoy intimacy without the anxiety. Take back control. And for just $99, your initial visit includes a medical consultation, test, and even a test dose. And if it doesn't work, your visit is on the house. It's totally free. Men are getting back to enjoying a vibrant sex life just one day after their appointment with my friends over at Heartland's Men's Health, and that's what I want for you. Go stop by any one of the 3 area locations, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Don't settle. Pick up the phone and call my friend at Heartland's Men's Health at 844-447-6600, or check out heartlandmenshealth.com. Get your life back today.
When it comes to financial goals, everyone has that one thing you want to accomplish. Raise your credit score, give your kitchen a well-deserved glow-up, or eliminate credit card debt. At Main Street Credit Union, your main thing, well, that's our thing. It's what we're passionate about, helping you achieve your main thing. So bring us your wants, your needs, and your goals. We'll provide you with the tools to achieve them. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's also what a lot of us lack in our basement or garage. By switching to a Navien tankless water heater, not only will you have all the hot water you need whenever you need it, but you'll gain storage area as well. Maybe a place to display your space collectibles. Highly logical. Learn about Navien's series of high-efficiency tankless water heaters and how they don't just save space, but save dollars on your utility bills too. For more, go to tanklessmadesimple.com.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-583-5795.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This afternoon, expect mostly sunny skies with a high of 82.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
Welcome to your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
I want to play this audio for you guys quickly. This was Dana Hughes. He was on our morning show earlier today. He was talking about the Chiefs. Listen to this, and I'll react on the other side.
Obviously, there are no other teams that can say they're undefeated, but there are also not very many teams that can say confidently that they haven't played their best football, and they're still in this position as a top team in their division and in the conference. So, to me, that's encouraging. I like the fact that we have not arrived yet, and we're just in week 8 going into week 9.
I don't disagree with anything that Danon said. I don't think that the Chiefs have played their best ball, but I think the Chiefs are very different. Rod, let me make my first NBA comparison of the day. Tim Duncan was a dominant player. So was Kobe. But we can agree that those two players, how they went about being dominant, looked very different, even though the results were the same. Tim Duncan's got 5 rings. That's how many Kobe has. Duncan's won MVPs. Kobe's won MVPs. Both got gold medals. They both were dominant in the same era. They both just did it in very different ways. The Chiefs are dominant. They're just not dominant in a very flashy way. I think the Chiefs are actually playing pretty close to their best. I actually think the Chiefs are playing almost identically to how they played last year. I think the difference is when the Chiefs decide to stop turning the ball over, and we don't know when that's going to be. This is the same Chiefs team that won the Super Bowl last year. Those 3 games that they played in January, this is the same kind of Chiefs with really the same kind of formula. The difference is the turnover differential. How the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year is they stopped turning the football over and they really leaned into who their playmakers are. They do that now. When they had Isaiah Pacheco, they ran the football effectively. Now with Kareem Hunt, they run the football. They gave Rice a lot of targets. Now that they don't have Rice, they now give Kelsey those targets. This is the formula that we've seen the Chiefs implement over the course of the last 6 to 8 months or so. It just looks different than how they did it in 2020. It just looks different now than how they did it in 2021. This Chiefs team, they're just not flashy anymore. In 2018, in 2020, the Chiefs were flashy. They would show up, they would have those spurts where they would just levy out big haymakers and they would knock you out. This team still gets you on the ground. They just either beat you up and knock you out in the 11th or 12th inning, or they just always win by decision. But the result is usually the same. So again, I don't disagree with what Danon is saying. Could the Chiefs play better than what they're playing? Sure. But tell me where. Outside of turnover differential. Last year, their turnover differential was -11. This year, it's -3. It's hard to keep winning games the way that the Chiefs are with a negative turnover differential, and yet they continue to do it. I don't see the Chiefs, at least not with the weaponry that they have. I don't really see them playing much different over the course of the next 6 to 8 weeks. This team is going to keep running the football. This team is going to continue to control the line of scrimmage. They're going to keep being the better defensive team, and they're going to keep muddying the fight up. This is just who the Chiefs are now. It just looks very different than what I think you see a traditional dominant player. This isn't Jordan. This isn't Kobe. This isn't LeBron. This is Tim Duncan level of dominance. He's going to get you 25, 12, and 8. It's just not going to be a flashy 25, 15, and 8.
I struggle with this personally because I know the Chiefs aren't flashy anymore. And I really wish they were, but they're not. They are, to your analogy, hey, we go 12 rounds and we beat you by decision, or we beat you in the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th round. We hit a late fourth quarter knockout and it's over. Like, we win. Like, that's kind of how the Raiders game felt. They got their knockout. They're up 2 scores. Yeah, the Raiders had an by the way touchdown, but the game was never in doubt after the Chiefs had scored to go up 14. So I understand they aren't as flashy. Why I struggle with it at times is, Carrington, we talk a lot about turnover differential and, those sorts of things really mattering. Over the last 2 seasons, the Chiefs are minus 14 in giveaway takeaway? Minus 14 over a 20-game sample size, 20 plus, 24-game sample size. Everything about football fans, what we've been taught as football fans is that is not the formula to winning. So I struggle with the Chiefs not being flashy anymore because it looks like they're just 3 yards in a cloud of dust, grind you out and win. But then the stats show, there was a 1-score game and they were minus and plus and giveaway takeaway again. And there is a fear that is not sustainable that I have in the back of my head. Although last year these same problems existed and it was sustainable. They won a Super Bowl, but it doesn't feel correct as a football fan to say they are minus 14 in the last 24 regular season games. That's why their path to Super Bowl is X. It just feels like that's a losing formula.
Yeah, I mean, over that stretch, they're 22-6, and they're minus 14 in the turnover differential. That's not sustainable, honestly, but it is sustainable because it's Kansas City. It is the weirdest sentence to say. I want to tell you guys this. This was something very important that happened to me earlier today. So I went with my daughter to her field trip today. It was a great fall activity. And Rob, you know that I am a believer that, we never really appreciate somebody else's job until you try to do the job. Like, from the outside, you think, oh, man, that's kind of easy. And then you do it. Like, we kind of complain about the service that we get when we go out to eat. But if I just was like, hey, tomorrow you go be a server on a Friday night, you would be like, man, that was kind of hard. That was harder than I thought it was going to be. All right, you know what? Man, maybe I should be different when it comes to servers. So I'm there, and I'm one of the adult chaperones. I'm the only male chaperone at this thing, right? So we're walking around and get all the kids situated, and the kids are going to eat. And I'm helping the kids open up bags and helping them with all the stuff and peeling apples and oranges and all this kind of stuff. And the kids then go off to play. Now it's time for the kids to play, Rob. Now, these are all 3 to 5-year-old kids, right? So you know how whenever you go to these fall activities, they have a corn pit. I think that's what it is. Like a bunch of kernels of corn, like a corn pit, right? I saw the teacher say the rules are do not throw the kernels. What do you think the first thing these kids do is?
They were flying everywhere.
Jump in there. I'm telling you, I saw one of the kids. It looked like he did the LeBron chalk toss with the kernels, just way up in the air. And I'm watching them, and they're trying to, correct the kids and still trying to let them have fun and play. The kids are doing WWE moves. They're jumping off the thing into the kernels. I'm telling you, it was pandemonium. I eventually kind of moseyed my way over to the teacher. And I said, so you do this every day? She's like, yeah, I love it. I said, wait, hold on. You're telling me this is fun for you? Yeah, this is why I went to school. I was like, wait, hold on. How long have you been doing this for? Like 6 or 7 years. Wait, hold on. This is what you wanted to do? You just want to hang around? This is fun? Like, yeah. You know what, Rob? I left that field trip today with a greater appreciation for teachers. I'm telling you, you think you got a little one. Wait until you go around other little ones. And then it's 5, 6, 8, 10 of them. It's a bunch of them. and they're all sneezing and coughing and their nose are running. And I'm telling you, if you got somebody in your life as a teacher, just go spend one class there. You be like, man, you know what, man, teachers, they're one of God's angels. There's some greater human beings among us. The people that do the bells outside for the Salvation Army around Christmas time, God's angels. You're a greater human being than me. You want to know where I would not be on the 19th of December? Outside Walmart trying to get your pocket change. That's not where I would be. But this is where you decided to spend your time. God's angels. Rob, have you ever had a bad experience at Chick-fil-A? Never. God's angels. They're chosen. If you are a teacher for kids that are pre-high school, God's angels. You really are. You're one of the greatest human beings among us. You get the fast pass to heaven. I'm cool with waiting in line. Go ahead and skip me. You know, I'm cool right here. You go ahead and go up to the front of the line. I know it's fun in there. You get to go to the front of the line. The amount of patience you got to have to be a teacher, you're a next level human being. I just wanted to tell you guys that because I know some of you might be teachers. Maybe your wife's a teacher. You think just grading the papers at home, it's not enough. I'm telling you, go to her class and just sit there for an hour and a half. You will leave with the greater appreciation of teachers and what they go through to watch after our little ones. Coming up at the top of the hour, Rob, you did some research while I was at the fun house, while I was at the farm doing fall activities. We will go through your research next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5. The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs. Everyone develops cataracts naturally as they get older. When your vision is affected by cataracts, you should see my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein at Silverstein Eye Centers. Dr. Silverstein is a world-renowned cataract surgeon who performs life-changing laser-assisted cataract surgery with premium lens implants to correct your vision up close and far away. Trust my eye doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein, Silverstein Eye Centers, 816-358-3600 to schedule an appointment.
Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. This year, I get to host, and Hy-Vee's going to make it convenient for me. They have made fresh, ready to heat and serve favorites like succulent turkey, honey glazed spiral ham, prime rib, savory side dishes, and dessert. Hy-Vee's Taste of the Holidays event is coming up Saturday, November 2nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can sample all of the amazing ready-to-serve meal pack options or just get a little holiday inspiration. This holiday season, let Hy-Vee do the cooking while you take the credit, only at Hy-Vee.
Score big savings with Hy-Vee and the Kansas City Chiefs. Big points mean even bigger savings. Just shop Hy-Vee the day after a game and earn a fuel saver discount equal to the Chiefs score and based on the amount you spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, you save 42 cents a gallon with any $42 purchase. The more we score, the more you save. Win or lose, everyone scores the day after a Chiefs game only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
If you're in need of a midweek boost, FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app, has you covered with the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack. Now, every Wednesday, you can get parlay profit boost on everything from spreads, over-under, and even player props. So don't let the weekend have all the fun. Take advantage of the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack. Who knows? It just may become your favorite day. Look out for the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack in the FanDuel app to find all of your profit boosts. New to FanDuel, visit FanDuel.com/CDOT and use my promo code. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit token boost. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 10% when you buy a pallet or more of select concrete mix. And there's more. Save up to 25% when you buy a pallet or more of select drywall panels. Plus, get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Because Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Tune in this week to kick off with Boomer and Valenti to hear the Sims Spotlight featuring Super Bowl winning quarterback Phil Simms. Brought to you by Balance of Nature. Balance of Nature supplements. Changing the world one life at a time.
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election. Through Robinhood, you can now trade financial derivatives contracts on who will win the U.S. presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8, 2025 if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at Robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodities interest can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Commodity interest trading is not appropriate for everyone. Displayed prices are based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. Learn more at Robinhood.com/election.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, I do want to get to you guys these numbers here in just a bit, but before we do that, I want to tell you that it's possible I was wrong about something. It's possible. Now, I'm still not all the way there yet. I'll tell you if I'm 100% there, but I'm 80% there. And Sean Barber, I hope you're listening right now. It is possible that I was wrong about the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is possible. Now, I'm still not sure how good Pittsburgh is. Don't get me wrong here. Their last 3 wins are against Las Vegas and both New York teams. So it is still possible that Pittsburgh is not good. And before that, their last win was the Chargers. So I'm still not 100% removing myself from being right here, but I'm going to give myself the ability to play both ends against the middle. Let me preemptively apologize now, but reserve the right to say I told you so coming up in a couple of weeks whenever Pittsburgh falls off the wagon, because now they have gotten through the JV portion of their schedule, and now it's time for them to start getting to the big leagues and to start playing the really good teams here in a bit. So congratulations to Pittsburgh. They are 6-2. Russell Wilson looks very good. Najee Harris has ran for 100 yards in 3 consecutive weeks. I don't think he's done that since he was in Alabama. You know what? The Steelers are playing good football. I at least want to acknowledge that yesterday as they took care of business against the New York Giants. Now, this is what I want to talk to you guys about. So yesterday I gave you guys the teams. Right now, there only appears to be 8 teams that realistically have a shot of making the postseason in the AFC. But today I was riding around and I text Rob and I said, hey, Rob, can you look this up for me? We are at the halfway mark. I know it's 17 games now, so it's hard to know what the official is. All right, it doesn't matter. Most of these teams have either played 7 games or 8 games, and we are heading into week 9 of the NFL season. Can you tell me the teams, since they have expanded the playoffs, that have made the postseason when they were under 500 at this time in the season? Well, we looked it up. Since they expanded the playoffs, in the 4 years, there have been 9 teams who have been under 500 who have made the postseason, being under 500 at the halfway mark. So that would suggest that a couple of these teams that appear to be down and out are going to be able to turn things around and are going to make the postseason. So, Rob, if you can, hit a little bit of music here, and let's see if we can figure out who in the AFC and NFC would qualify. So there have been 9 teams that have done it. So on average, about 2 teams a year do it. Let's see if we can pick the 2. All right, the teams that are under 500 right now in the AFC: Miami, New England, the Jets, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Jacksonville, Tennessee, and the Las Vegas Raiders. I want you to pick one of those teams that you think could turn things around and make the postseason.
I think you have to take the Bengals. I think you have to. They are the only team in that grouping that has any track record of success. And they are also a team that did not win a home game so far this year. You figure that tide will eventually turn. So I'm taking the Bengals, and also part of it is I'm out on the Jets, not a believer. The Patriots, I don't know how they got 2 wins. They're not trying to win this year. The Dolphins, they just, even with Tua back, there's something that doesn't feel right about the Dolphins, so I'm out on them.
They got to figure out a way to get Tyreek going.
Cleveland, I know they got the miracle win over the weekend, but that's not a good football team. The Raiders we just saw, they're horrible. Somehow the Titans are worse, and the Jags don't have wideouts right now. So when you do a process of elimination, I get Joe Burrow, I get Jamar Chase. It's a bad defense, but it's a soft schedule. I will take the Bengals as my AFC sub-500 team to make the playoffs.
All right, could I entertain you with the Miami Dolphins? Now, they go on the road and they play Buffalo, and they never beat Buffalo. So if they lose this, they fall to 2-6. But the Rams, Vegas, New England, could they get hot going into those games? Is there a chance it's Miami? I actually think that Cleveland is a decent team. They just have had no shot at quarterback over the course of the season. Did you know that this past Sunday was the first time this season they scored more than 21 points in a football game? It's Halloween and they've scored 21 points one time. Are you telling me now that it's possible they can score a little bit with Jameis and they still have a pretty capable defense? And their schedule, the next 3 weeks, they have the Chargers at home, they go on the road and play the banged up New Orleans Saints, and they got Pittsburgh at home. I think there's a chance that we could be talking about Cleveland catching a little bit of momentum, winning 4 of their next 5 games. We can keep going through their schedule, and Cleveland is sitting there at 7-7, and they really got a shot to do something special. I think that Jameis is going to add a little bit of spark and a little bit of life to that team. They just got Nick Chubb back. I think they got some decent weapons on the outside. All of the infrastructure has been there for Cleveland. That's a team that made the postseason last year. They just couldn't score, and they had one of the 3 bottom quarterbacks in the league. I will entertain Cleveland as being a team that I'm not 100% willing to count Cleveland out. I think there's a little bit of life there now with the quarterback change.
It is really, really hard for me to bet on a team that sold at the deadline. I know we're not at the deadline yet, but it is hard for me to be like, you're right. Because what you're saying is conceptually correct. But when the GM and ownership was, hey, let's sell off some assets a week ago, it's hard for me to believe, oh, they're going to rise up and end up as a 9-8 playoff type team.
So if you guys are just tuning in, this is what we're doing. This is the exercise. Since the NFL has expanded the postseason, 9 teams have been under 500 at the halfway point and have still turned things around to make the postseason. So some of these teams are still alive. So in the AFC, I gave you Cleveland as a team, and you have Cincinnati as a team that you think is capable of turning things around. Let's do the same exercise in the NFC. The under 500 teams: Dallas, New York, New Orleans, Carolina, and the Los Angeles Rams. There are not a lot of teams in the NFC that are under 500. The NFC is far more balanced than the AFC. The AFC has a very strong top. Kansas City's really good. Buffalo's good. Baltimore's a good football team. I think Houston is a good football team as well. That's kind of where it ends. There's going to be 7 good teams in the NFC playoffs, and I think there could possibly be 1 or 2 that's on the outside looking in that probably would have made the playoffs if they were in the AFC, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Give me your NFC team that is under 500 that you think can still turn things around.
I don't want to take Dallas, but I'm going to take Dallas. I just don't believe in any of the other teams that are sub 500. There's absolutely no reason to pick the Giants. Let's rule them out.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, good Lord. Carolina, somehow worse. New Orleans, New Orleans is not a team I believe in. They have strife. Here in about 10 minutes, we'll talk to someone about from New Orleans about if they're going to sell Marshawn Lattimore. Like, they're over the cap. They feel like they're in a bad way. And I hate the Rams. You know I hate the Rams. I can't, with good conscience, vote for the Rams. So,
you only hate the Rams because they don't like draft picks.
Exactly.
That's the only reason why you don't like them.
Which is why I'm happy they're sub 500. Bums. I'm going to take the Cowboys, even though I hate their coach, because I think their division is one where they can make some hay. I do not believe in the Eagles. I know they're 5-2, but I do not believe they are a good football team. I think that is the spot where you can get up on a team, is when you have a division opponent that I think you're better than. I think Dallas looked better over the weekend against the Niners and less like the disaster we saw against the Lions. So I will take the Cowboys, but it's not an easy pick in the NFC.
Can you fade the music down a little bit? Put the Rams in the postseason. They're winning the NFC West. Turn the music back up. Have you seen the schedule for the Rams? They're now getting healthy. 1-2 games in a row. They beat the Raiders. They beat Minnesota, everybody's favorite Minnesota. They go on the road on Sunday and play Seattle. They go on the road, they win that game. They got Miami, New England, Philadelphia at home, and New Orleans. That's their next 5 games. Rob, they're going 4-1 in that stretch. And as we head into Thanksgiving, you mark my words right now, the Rams will be in first place in the NFC West. Mark it down, Rams winning their division. I took them earlier this week. They were plus 350 to win the division. I took them.
So by doing that, it means you're a little bit out on the Niners. Which, by the way, let's circle back to August when I told you, I'm out on the Niners. It's too noisy. And you said, no, don't worry about it. If you have the Rams win that division, you got to be to at least some extent out on the Niners.
I told you last week I was out on the Niners. You remember I said last week I didn't think the Niners were making the postseason. You were right. Is that what you wanted? Is that what you wanted me to say?
I needed that after the Rams take.
Yeah, you were right. If you want me to say that you were right about San Francisco, you were right about San Francisco. I don't have them making the playoffs. I have them missing it this year. I got them missing. It's too much going on right now. Is Jordan Mason healthy or is he hurt? When's Christian McCaffrey coming back? Their number 1 wide receiver got shot. Brandon Ayuk. It's Deebo Samuel's hurt. He's in the hospital for pneumonia. It's something every single week. No, I'm out on San Francisco. That's what you wanted me to say? You're right. All right, you're right, friend. You're right. You knew what you were talking about with San Francisco. You knew it. I don't think I was wrong, but you were right. I'm willing to give you that. I also wasn't wrong about Pittsburgh either, or right. I wasn't either one of those things. Time will tell. That's always, whenever you know you're wrong, you just start saying things like that. Time will tell. Time will tell. That's what you start to say. All right, coming up on the other side, let's take a quick little trade deadline preview trip. We're going to head to New Orleans. I was reading a story earlier today that said that Marshawn Lattimore could be available. Could the Chiefs be interested in going to pick him up? And let's also take a trip to New York and see if Darius Slayton is still on the market. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Right now, 38 states allow sports betting, including 7 of Missouri's neighboring states. Amendment 2 gives Missouri sports fans the freedom to bet on games too, and that will generate over $100 million for our schools. Amendment 2 is endorsed by the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and Missouri's 2 biggest newspapers, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and the Kansas City Star. Here's Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith asking you to vote yes on 2.
Back in my day, I was the wizard of the infield. Now, I'm a grandfather. That's why I'm voting yes on Amendment 2. It means over $100 million for Missouri schools and teachers, and no more broken promises. There's a constitutional guarantee that the money goes to our schools, and legalizing sports betting is great for us fans too. That's why the Royals, Chiefs, Blues, and Cardinals all join me in saying yes on Amendment 2.
Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
It's time to review the top 3 highlights of the day. I'm joined as always by my co-anchor Snoop.
Hey, what up, though?
Snoop, number 1 has to be getting the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence at T-Mobile.
Yeah, you should hustle down to T-Mobile like a dog chasing a squirrel, chasing a nut.
Nice analogy, Snoop. Dogs do love to chase squirrels.
And squirrels love to chase those nuts.
On to highlight number 2. At T-Mobile, families can save 20% every month versus the other big guys.
That is very impressive. You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing with my savings, Snoop. Now, take it away, Snoop.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them. Now drop that jingle.
24 monthly bill credits eligible trade-in on Go 5G Next. Well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits, and credits stop and balance on required finance agreement too. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
After my car wreck, there was a lot I didn't know.
I do know. My team knows injury law. We can help you understand all of your legal rights so that you don't get cheated.
DM Law knew what to do and got me $350,000.
Mike's got this.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Calling all Chiefs fans. You could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. You can enter to win a chance to be on the field for the March to the Three-Peat. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
At Shane Company, we'll help you create a ring as unique as your love story. We have the biggest selection of diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and center stones in an array of colors, including sapphires in blue, pink, green, lavender, and more. Just the other day, a couple picked out a blue sapphire that perfectly matched her eyes, and they left knowing her ring was truly one of a kind. That's what happens at Shane Company. Come check us out. You might just fall in love with something unexpected. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait, this rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double hot, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Hey, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Well, I do now.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn, we match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon.
You get the idea. And now, get yours with $1 any size soft drink. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Mommy, wanna play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This drive is brought to you by Metro Ford, online at kcmetroford.com. Looking at a few brake lights on the southbound lanes of Overland Parkway as you come off of 435. Also starting to slow down on 71 southbound after you get through MLK. Want more from your dealership? At Metro Ford, every new vehicle comes with a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. Family owned, just 10 minutes from downtown, and packed with unbeatable value. Drive smarter only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's George Karlaftis. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, Rob, you know what? I know that our guest is on hold, but I want him to hear this question because I want him to ask his co-host, his producer, this question too. Let's say that all three parties are wrong. Who do you think will admit that they're wrong first? Me, the text line, or your wife? Which one do you think will admit that they're wrong first?
You won. You won. Text line, wife tied for second.
The text line ain't never been wrong, though. Come on now. Text line ain't never been wrong. Text line told us Sky Moore was going to be Julian Edelman. Nah, man, I'm not. No. Text line, no. You tell me, give me an instance the time the text line admitted that they were off about something. No. I'm not letting the text line off this way. Text line 913-586-76610. Well, I'll let you think about it. Let's go to the phone lines right now. We are very happy to be joined by Casey Gisclair with ESPN 103 in New Orleans. Casey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing just fine, fellas. And hey, look, to your topic that you just brought up, the text line is always right, boys. Come on, y'all know that.
100. The text line is always right, and the text line has done everything. It doesn't matter what it is. The text line has been to the moon, and they've also seen the Titanic before.
Absolutely, 100%. That is a great code to live by. Yes, sir.
All right, let's start with this. I was reading a story, and they were kind of going through possible trade candidates, and Marshawn Lattimore's name came up. Is he available? Are the Saints sellers right now?
So that's a really interesting question. New Orleans is 2-6, and you know, conventional wisdom would say with a 2-6 team that is one of the older rosters in the NFL, you would say, yeah, they would look to sell some of their veteran pieces, but that has gone against everything that Mickey Loomis has stood for, the general manager of the New Orleans Saints in recent years. So I guess not to make a cop-out answer, we really don't know. Like, I think that, yes, he probably should be available, but New Orleans has never been in a position to be sellers, and even when they should have sold in years past, they have been reluctant to do so. So not all the way sure on that one. I will say this. He was being shopped in the offseason over the summer, and New Orleans couldn't find the compensation that they wanted. So we'll be keeping our eyes on that one for sure. It's a very interesting name, though, but it's a guy who can still play at a very, very high level.
What kind of compensation are the Saints looking for?
Reportedly, New Orleans was looking for something in that second to third round range. We're not getting anybody to kind of bite on that. Reportedly, the offers were closer to the fifth or sixth round range. Would they be willing to compromise, meet in the middle, you know, late third, early fourth? I don't know. Lattimore's a guy that the reason why he came up in trade discussions in New Orleans is just because the Saints have a logjam at defensive back. That is a place where they have some depth. Contract situation. He's due to get paid here pretty soon. So, you know, he's still a very productive player. If Kansas City or another contending team were able to get their hands on him, you'd be getting a guy who's a legitimate difference maker.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how much do you think he still has left in the tank? We don't really talk about him anymore as being one of those impact corners in the league. Maybe not playing up to the contract anymore. I don't think he's going to be on this contract next season. Where's his play at? Is he still one of the top corners in the league?
When he's healthy, and that is the $1 million question that I just said, is that he's not always healthy. He has had some hamstring issues, but fortunately, this season he has mostly been out there, and when he is out there, he has been playing hard, and he has been competing. I do think he's still a number one defensive back in this league, And should a Kansas City, should, a Buffalo or whomever get their hands on him, I do think that they would be getting a guy who could make a difference maker down the stretch.
If you had to guess, would you guess that Marshawn Lattimore is on the roster come this time Tuesday afternoon?
I will say yes, just because past experience tells me that New Orleans has never sold before under Mickey Loomis. And they are still of the belief here in the city, whether this is true or not, and a lot of fans don't think that this is the case, but a lot of the front office folks say they are struggling because of injuries, and they're not nearly as far away as the 2-6 record would think. So I would say yes, though if it were me personally in the decision-making room, I would sell off and I would start building towards the future.
That is Casey Gisclair joining us on the show. He's with ESPN 10.3 in New Orleans, telling us about Marshawn Lattimore and could he be available, as the Chiefs could be looking for some corner help. Casey, great stuff, man. I appreciate you.
Anytime, guys.
Absolutely. That is Casey from New Orleans. All right, let's head to the big city. Let's head to New York City to be joined by Ryan Dunleavy. He works with the New York Post, and we'll find out if Darius Slayton is available still. Ryan, how you doing, my man?
Good. How are you guys?
I'm doing great, Ryan. Before we start this, you and I have never talked before, but I want you to know that I feel for you because I have had the opportunity to watch Patrick Mahomes over the course of the last 5 years or so. You have had the opportunity to watch Daniel Jones, and I'm guessing you have had a lot of Monday nights like you just had yesterday.
I believe Daniel Jones is 1-15 in primetime games in his 6-year career. Don't feel too bad for me. I do get to go to the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl every year, so I feel like I see Patrick twice a year anyway, no matter what.
I mean, this is now a trivia question. Who was the one win on Monday Night Football with? Because that coach had to be fired and that quarterback had to be fired.
It's primetime in general, so Thursday, Sunday, Monday, and it was actually against the Commanders when both teams were 7-7 in 2022. They beat the Commanders, and that's what basically essentially punched the Giants' playoff ticket and kept the Commanders out in 2022. And yes, Ron Rivera was no longer the Commanders' coach, obviously.
Yeah, I'm also guessing then after that is probably when they made Snyder sell the team after they're like, wait, you guys lost to Daniel Jones on primetime TV? You got to give up this team.
Look, guys, I think Daniel Jones, he's not in any regards a top quarterback. I think he gets way too much blame for what the Giants are. The Giants are not a very good team in any regard. Defense, offense, special teams, they haven't been coached well during his 6-year tenure. So he's not been very good, but he's only a part of the problem. And all the people who think he's the 32nd best quarterback need to watch more NFL games because he's not the worst.
All right, I want to get your take on Darius Slayton. The Giants are 2-6. I don't think they're going to win their division. I don't think they're going to make the postseason. A lot of Chiefs fans have kind of looked at Darius Slayton as being a possibility for Kansas City. Do you think he's available via a trade?
I do. Yeah, I think we go through this every year with Darius Slayton because he is the model of consistency. He has led the Giants in receiving yards 4 of the last 5 years. They've had one of the worst passing offenses in the NFL during his tenure. So he gets about 45 to 50 receptions every year here, and he gets about 720 to 750 yards every year here. And that might not sound like a lot here, but when you look at the totality of the Giants' offense, that's pretty good. That's 1,000 yards in a more pass-efficient offense. So, yes, I do think he would be available. He's on the last year of his contract. He is very good friends with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is in all likelihood not going to be with the Giants. He'll get released in the offseason, so I don't see Slayton wanting to come back to play with a quarterback who isn't Jones here. He's already re-signed once with the Giants in free agency. He tried to hold out, didn't get much out of it in the spring. So I think Slayton's days with the Giants are numbered. I think he's a good player. I think he definitely would be available for kind of a mid to late day 3 pick, talking like round 5, 6.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that. How motivated do you think the Giants would be to eat some of the contract? I only asked that because that's kind of been the theme. The Titans ate some of the money for DeAndre Hopkins. Devontae Adams eventually got moved. We saw Amari Cooper get a little bit of his contract, and we also saw Deontay Johnson. The Panthers gave up $3 million to trade Deontay Johnson to the Ravens. Do you think the Giants are willing to do something similar to get Slayton off the team and get a couple of draft picks for him?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I think if you're talking multiple draft picks like they got for Kadarius Toney, Yeah, absolutely. They jump at that chance. They ate a lot of Leonard Williams' contract last year to send him to Seattle because they got a second and a fifth out of the Seahawks. I don't see them eating a lot of money if we're talking about a sixth or a seventh round pick. If you're telling me you're getting multiple picks or you're telling me you're getting into the 5 range, they might eat some money. But they won't be anxious to move Slayton. He is an all-time good teammate. Like, he is beloved in the locker room, connects with everybody, media, teammates, coaches. He is as good a guy as I've been around in the NFL in my 6 years. So there's no he might quit on the team. He's been through losing. He knows exactly how to play hard through hard times. He is very well liked around the Giants. So they won't be in any kind of rush to move him. But, business is business at the end of the day. He's not going to be on the team next year. And the Giants made a mistake last year not moving Saquon Barkley and Xavier McKinney and losing them in free agency to nothing. So they need to learn from that mistake.
If you had to look into your crystal ball, do you think that Darius Slayton is on the Giants next week?
I don't, because I think there's enough teams. Obviously, you're talking about the Chiefs, the Commanders, the 49ers, the Buccaneers. I think there's enough teams that need receivers out there, and I think Slayton's one of the better ones, and his reputation precedes him as being a good guy. Any contender could welcome him in, and he's a big play threat, and that's what teams are always looking for.
That is Ryan Dunleavy joining us on the show. Ryan, you know what? You really sold me on Darius Slayton in this conversation, man. I appreciate you hopping on today.
No problem. Thanks for having me, and for the sake of my quotes, let's keep him here because he fills up my notebook.
That is Ryan Dunleavy joining us on the show today. He does fantastic work with the New York Post. You know what? Ryan Dunleavy gave about as high of an endorsement for a player that I think that you possibly could. I think Darius Slayton is a good player. I think he's a good player. I think, like most of these conversations, Rob, it is about what are you going into it with, what are your expectations to go get him. Now, I do think that the market has been set. Darius Slayton is worth a 5th-round pick. That's what he's worth. I mean, the Giants really wouldn't have to eat a whole lot of money right now for Darius Slayton. He's not making a whole lot. I mean, Darius Slayton is making $1.4 million. He had a $700,000 roster bonus. His cap hit is $4.2 million. Now, he is also under contract for last season, but that also kind of affects Kansas City and what they need and what they can do. I think Darius Slayton makes a lot of sense if that's a guy that you want to go out there and get, and he's a guy that you want to get for the cheap. I'm talking about a 5th-round pick, a 6th-round pick, a pick swap. You figure some things out. Darius Slayton sounds like he would fit a lot of things, and I still think Kansas City needs another person into that room. That room is still relatively thin at this point. There's not a whole lot of options and a whole lot of proven production in that room. So is Darius Slayton a 1,000-yard, 1,100-yard guy? No, probably not. But could Darius Slayton be a worthwhile piece for this team? And even if Hollywood comes back, if you were telling me that heading into the postseason, you got DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, and you got Darius Slayton, and then everybody else is able to fill their roles. Xavier Worthy emerges. You got McCall Hardman, who's played in postseason games. You got Justin Watson. You got some other games. You have been able to adjust this room on the fly if you want to go pick up a receiver. Darius Slayton makes a lot of sense.
He makes sense on the field, and what Ryan Dunleavy said about him off the field, or maybe in the locker room as a teammate, those things fit perfectly in line with what we opened the show with. DeAndre Hopkins fits because he's a culture guy. Deontay Johnson didn't seem to fit because he's not a culture guy. We know that George Pickens was the guy the Chiefs were not interested in around draft time because he's not a culture guy. They are big on making guys fit in, and it's, we over me type of mentality in that locker room. Darius Slayton sounds like that kind of guy. He is still very supportive of Daniel Jones, who is one of the bottom 3rd quarterbacks in the NFL. He is not acting out because the Giants stink. He's going about his business and still being productive. He was productive last night in the Steelers game. So an on and an off the field fit, I would love to add Darius Slayton. I don't think wide receiver is my top want at the deadline anymore. I think corner, and we'll see the injury report on Thursday this week because the Chiefs, everything got pushed back because of the Monday night game. I want to see about Najee Johnson's health and things of that nature before I all in on that, but if they had a Darius Slayton, I would be a happy camper.
I want to tell you guys a very, very important message that I think we all know this in real time, but sometimes you need to be reminded about things. There is a such thing as being too honest, right? There's a thing of being too honest. Now, sometimes we put these athletes in these situations and we're like, well, you don't want them to get coach speak, but you also don't want them to lie. Well, yeah, kinda. So the reason I bring this up is what happened earlier this week with Anthony Richardson. Now, Anthony Richardson is a quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, and I don't think I've ever seen this before. Anthony Richardson subbed himself out of the game at quarterback. He's not a running back, not a wide receiver, not on the D-line. It was third down coming up. And he just taps his helmet to come out of the game. A very, very weird situation. Of course, he's going to be asked about it. Here's what Anthony Richardson said.
Man, tired. I ain't gonna lie. That was a lot of running right there that I did, and I don't think I was gonna be able to go that next play. So I just, just told saying I just needed a break right there.
Tony, come here, man. I wouldn't have told anybody that. I'm serious. I wouldn't have said that. I really wouldn't have said that. Now, I get it. You're trying to be honest. And he said, I'm not going to lie. You know what? That part is commendable. I will give you credit for that. But, Anthony, you think Josh Allen would have subbed himself out of the game right there? You think that Patrick Mahomes would have done that? You think that Tom Brady would have done that? You think that Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers back in his prime, you think that any of those guys on third down would have told Shane Steichen, Coach, bring in Joe Flacco. I need a breather. What? Anthony, you can't do this. Come on now. This is unacceptable. Rob, you want to know what's going on? We don't have veterans anymore to show these young guys the ropes. Now, you would think that's what Joe Flacco is for. You would think that Joe Flacco would be showing the young gun the ropes. He subbed himself out of the game? Come on. I don't believe it. I really don't believe it. Come on now. It's ridiculous. He just said, I'm done. That's what he said. He said, Coach, I need a breather on third down. When his team is below 500, he's just taking breaks in the middle of the game, resting because he's tired. Come on, Anthony. You can't do this. Come on now. You can't do this. You got to be better. You got to tighten up. Who's your OGs? Who's your mentor? Who's your big brothers? This is unacceptable. That's what this is. This is unacceptable. I don't have anything else on this, Rob. I really don't. I can't believe this. I'm dumbfounded that he would do something like this. I'm dumbfounded by it.
At the position he plays, too.
Yeah, I'm dumbfounded by it.
Like, I've seen the play.
Coach, get me.
I've seen the play. You've seen the play. It's all over ESPN. He does shake off a defender, work the left, work to the right, and then, sprint past the line of scrimmage for a 3-yard gain before getting tackled. There is no doubt in my mind that every single person on the text line, me, you, every person that works here, would be gassed after that individual play. But you can't, in good conscience, be like, I'm coming out, coach, and then expect the locker room to still have your back. You know who's also probably tired from that play? The left tackle. The guard is probably out of juice. I'm sure on defense, when it's hurry-up offense and their team's going fast, I'm sure the linebacker is starting to, suck wind a little bit. I have no doubt about it. You as the quarterback are supposed to stand up, take a deep breath, get in the huddle, and be like, I got this, next play. How many times have we seen a quarterback in football give everything to their team, and their team loves them for it? I think of like Byron Leftwich back in the day. Was it Chad Pennington who had to be carried? It was, Ben Roethlisberger was an extreme example of it. He faked injuries to get respect from his teammates, but guys gave everything to make a play. Matthew Stafford separated his shoulder and said, I'm going back in to make a play. Anthony Richardson was like, I did a lot of running and I'm tired. There's no way that locker room respects him. None.
Unacceptable. I'm serious. It's unacceptable. Call a timeout. You got to do something. You got to tell somebody else on the team to go down with an injury. You can't do that. Anthony, no. Again, who are your OGs? Who's advising you? You're getting terrible leadership. Awful leadership. Rob, I got a little bit of a beef with you, man, before the break. What did I tell you yesterday that we were not talking about? There was only one thing I said that we're not talking about. Why did you put more of this into the system? Were you expecting me to play this? Yesterday, I said there's one topic we are not talking about until Black Friday. I was very, very clear and concise. And now this is the thing. I'm gone for a little bit in the morning. I leave you in charge. And now, so you want me to play this Chiefs not going undefeated on Get Up. We're not even at Halloween yet, and we're debating on whether or not the Chiefs are going undefeated. That's what you want me to play this audio on the screen.
I just want the whole world to know the whole story here. You said, hey, I'll be in around this time. I got the field trip. I'm taking care of some stuff. Let's get that whip around built. Let's get another guest lined up. Hey, let's do this. Let's do that. And I think one of the national shows was talking Chiefs. Can you pull it? That's what I did. Okay. I pulled the national shows talking Chiefs.
You're lying right now, and that's not right. I can't believe you would come on here and you would try to lie on me. We supposed to rep the same smart tech. That's unacceptable. That's not what happened. We are not talking about that topic until Black Friday. If the Chiefs have 0 losses the Monday we get back from Thanksgiving, we can talk about it every day on this show. Not until then. Coming up on the other side, let's talk about your Kansas Jayhawks. Let's talk about my Missouri Tigers, and we'll sprinkle in a little bit of K-State too. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Are you in need of top-quality metal for your next project? Look no further than Metal by the Foot. Whether you're a DIY enthusiast, contractor, or business owner, Metal by the Foot has the perfect solution for you. Steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless. The Foot. Blue Demon Welding Supplies, filler rods, and wire. The Foot. Bronius Professional Welding Equipment, Service and Repairs. The Foot. Located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the Foot.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? It means everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom, and ready to do the same for you.
What makes a good real estate agent? They just know what makes your home sell. And homeowners all over Kansas City trust the Sharp Homes team brokered by Epic Realty to sell their home. And I trust Dawn as well. If I needed to sell my home, Dawn Sharp is the only call I would make. Dawn and her team know how to price your home correctly and how to market it to as many potential buyers as possible. She has over 200 5-star reviews on Google and Zillow, and you can see them when you Google Sharp Homes Team or visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing.
At Main Street Credit Union, your success is our goal. Whether you're a financial rookie or a pro, we're here to help. If you're looking to pay down debt, improve your credit score, or buy a car, we'll be right there with you. We're dedicated to providing guidance, education, and essential resources to empower you on your journey toward financial success. We'll help you understand your financial options so even financial rookies will be on their way to reaching their goals. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
Touchdown, Renner! Almost Andy Reid here. You know, a few years ago, my wife surprised me with tickets to a Halloween ball. And guess what? That night I discovered a new passion. Now I've added to that passion, cheering on the greatest team with the greatest garage door company of all time. Renner offers top-notch repair services, new doors, and LiftMaster openers. It's the perfect three-peat forward and back RENNER with Renner. You'll stay on the championship track. Visit rennerdoor.com.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius. Or two half-geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm at the movies.
asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect? Please? Because I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
You okay?
Sorry, I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic is sponsored by Park & Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Seeing some brake lights on the southern lanes of the downtown loop, eastbound 70 out of the 435 exchange, and also 71 southbound starting from about MLK. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7, fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Time to check in on MIZ, K-State, and KU. Let's go cover 3.
Ready? I want to tell you guys a story. A story about me as a young boy. Coming up in a bit, we're going to be joined by Pro Football Focus, and we'll get back to pro football things. But right now, I want to tell you a college football story. This is a story. Rob, I loved the first Spider-Man movie. I love Spider-Man 2. I was so excited for Spider-Man 3. I still remember the trailer like it just came out. You're telling me there's going to be the Dark Spider-Man? This is the last of the trilogy? Man, I was so excited. I've never been more let down and I've never been more disappointed in a movie than I have with Spider-Man 3. And I told myself that day I'll never see a Sam Raimi movie. I will never watch one. He's let me down. He ruined my childhood. That feeling that I just expressed to you is a better feeling than watching Missouri this season. This was supposed to be their year. They expanded the playoff. The quarterback is coming back. They got Caden Green out of the transfer portal. Burden was coming back. Theo Weiss, Cooper, Joshua Manning. They were active in the transfer portal. This was supposed to be different. This year was supposed to be special. The schedule was perfect. All the stars were aligning for this to be a special Missouri season. It ain't special. It's a regular movie. I've seen this movie before, sure. Missouri might win 8 games. They might win 9 games this year, and I'm sure it'll be great. But I'm hurt. I'm disappointed. They're done. They have no chance. The playoff dream is done. The special season is done. That's my Missouri thoughts for today.
I mean, I'd love to jump on here and make fun of you. That's how the show dynamics work sometimes. I can't make fun of Missouri for being disappointing this year. Kansas did it to me, too.
I mean, they at least did it earlier.
Except for it's like
they at least got me to the fall. You didn't even. It was still summer when your team was eliminated.
They were eliminated, but it's been a really
even worse.
unfun fall of watching the same game every week. Oh, KU leads in the fourth quarter. Oh, bad turnover. Oh, they lose by one possession. I've seen that game 6 times this year. Every single KU loss is the same. Close game. The win percentage analytics show they should win. They give up a back-breaking score. They have a turnover. They lose. I've seen it at Children's Mercy Park. I've seen it at Arrowhead. I've seen it in Manhattan. I've seen it on television. I've seen it at watch parties. I see it 6 times. It's like Groundhog Day every week.
Someone on the text line says, don't jump off the Sam Raimi boat. He came back and he made Doctor Strange. Bro, I've never seen that before.
You never saw Multiverse of Madness? That was good.
Did Sam Raimi make it?
That's correct.
But I haven't seen it. What are we talking about? No. I will not watch or support anything else he did. He ruined Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man for me. Just like Eli Drinkwitz ruined this Missouri Tigers season. They're worse at everything. Quarterback, running back, offensive line, everything. The popcorn's worse than it was last year. The nachos are stale. The cheese is old. Everything is worse at Faurot Field than it was last year. The grass doesn't look as manicured. The rocks, they didn't repaint the rocks before the season for the M. Everything is worse at Mizzou this year. It's embarrassing. Let's talk about somebody else. You want to talk about KU or K-State? You pick which one we want to do.
K-State.
Okay. I know. You want to talk about, we can talk about, you want to talk about KU?
We can do 90 seconds on KU.
Are you guys winning another game? That's all. Are they winning another game?
Yes.
We don't got to go back and are they going to win another game? Let me pull their schedule up for you.
I know it. They have a bye week. Iowa State, Colorado.
You guys might lose this week. You might lose the bye.
BYU and Baylor. They get one. I'm not super confident in it, but I feel like they get one.
Which one are they going to get?
Baylor. The worst of the teams on their schedule.
This team got a road win left? I'm just asking. They got a road win? You know what I think you need to focus on? I think you need to focus on playing spoiler to Colorado heading into Thanksgiving. Colorado's looking past you. It's at Arrowhead. I think you need to be looking to play spoiler. You trust this KU team to go on the road? They ain't beaten nobody on the road all season.
Well, first off, they have 3 road games left. They have BYU, Iowa State at Arrowhead, and Baylor.
All right. Well, we know they're not beating Iowa State at Arrowhead. That's a home game.
That game's 60-40 Cyclones. I doubt my mind.
You got 40% KU fans? You guys got
I'm
40%?
counting empty seats as Kansas.
Okay.
So not getting to 70.
Basketball's already started, right? I just want to point out basketball started.
Actually, you know what? It's going to be 70-30 because that's the Saturday after North Carolina.
That's the night after North Carolina comes to town.
Oh, yeah.
You were telling me KU fans are going to KU North Carolina, and then you're driving to Kansas City to watch them get smoked by the Cyclones? No. You were watching that at that little taco place on the corner on Mass Street, Torchy's Tacos or whatever that taco place is. You're watching them get their boots smoked in Lawrence. No chance. That might be 85-15 Jayhawks fan for that final game.
I forgot about the North Carolina part. Yeah, that's gonna be thin.
Let's talk about K-State. Are you a K-State believer? This is how I would rank the Big 12. You guys are curious about how I would rank the Big 12. This is how I would do it. I think that BYU is the best team in the league. I don't really think I have to support that by anything. I think that's very obvious that they're the best team right now in the league. I actually think K-State's the second best team in the league. I think K-State's better than Iowa State. I am more of a believer in K-State than I am of Iowa State. I would rank Iowa State third. I think Colorado's the fourth best team in the league. Colorado is still very, very viable in this thing. Now, I have no clue how the tiebreaker is going to work. I was actually reading a story earlier today. They were talking about some of the challenges in the Big Ten, and they're kind of hoping that the Big Ten sort of figures itself out and some of these teams lose so you don't have to go to some of these extreme tiebreakers. But you got to think, right now, Ohio State's still undefeated. A lot of these teams are still – Penn State's undefeated, Indiana's still undefeated, and these teams don't play each other because of how big these conferences are. And how are you going to figure out who goes where? How are you going to figure it out if it's K-State lost to Iowa State, but they beat Colorado, but Iowa State lost to – it's going to be a lot to figure out and to unpack. But Colorado is still very much in the conversation for a team that can play for the national championship, which sounds crazy to say, but it is absolutely factual that Colorado is still in this thing and still has a chance to compete for the national championship.
The problem Colorado has is their loss is K-State. That's the killer for them in the conference. Is, again, I don't know how the tiebreakers work, and I feel no sympathy for these conferences. They expanded to 16 teams. Suck it. You ruin college sports. Figure out the tiebreakers. But Colorado's in a bad way because K-State should probably be undefeated heading into Ames. Iowa State should probably be headed into that game. Colorado will have lost to K-State, so it's all going to kind of shake out. They could be in trouble. I think it's BYU K-State too, but honestly, there's something about Iowa State. They are playing good football. They've got really good quarterback play. And what's important for Iowa State is what's important in college football. That game against K-State, it's in Ames. And we know just the nature of the beast. Rivalry games and road games are just different animals in college football. And K-State on the road in Ames, final game of the season, you figure that would favor the Cyclones. But I think it goes BYU, K-State, Iowa State, and then Colorado fourth. But that's the grouping. That's the four. No one else has risen up into that rank.
Text line 913-586-7965. CDOT, that's the inherent risk with some of these giant conferences. They will end up a large popularity contest, just like the BCS. I would argue that's just college football. What's the polls? A popularity contest. So I don't disagree with you. It is going to end up being a popularity contest in the end. That is the most college football thing that you could possibly have happen. I do think at some point they're either going to have to expand the playoff again, or they're going to have to do what we see in the NFL. The NFL, they have multiple playoffs that go on. Like, we don't think of it that way, but they do. The AFC has its own version of the playoff, and then we see what team wins and moves on, and we all think that's a fair system. And then the NFC has its own playoff system, and then they nominate one team, and then that team ends up going. I don't know how you're going to have 16, 18 teams in this league. None of them really play each other, and you're going to tell me that this was the best and fair way to get to the final without having your own version of the playoff. I don't think we're going to get that radical in college football, but that would solve a lot of college football's problems. All right, coming up at the top of the hour, let's take the pro football focus perspective on the DeAndre Hopkins trade, Joshua Uche, also what Deontay Johnson means for the Baltimore Ravens. That's coming up. We'll be joined by Pro Football Focus next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic is sponsored by Park & Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Seeing some brake lights on the southern lanes of the downtown loop, eastbound 70 out of the 435 exchange, and also 71 southbound starting from about MLK. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7, fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent Beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain Scent Beads. Try Gain Scent Beads, way fresher than detergent alone.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
There's no place like the #1 sports bar to drive home the baseball season. Which team are you batting for in the Professional Baseball Championship? Head over to your favorite lodge to catch every inning of the action. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Dick Ray, he's your heating magician. Dick Ray, he's a man on a mission. In the dead of winter when the furnace is broken and a chill is in the air, you can call Dick Ray and he'll fix it up with care. He's always there. Call Dick Ray, he's your heating magician.
Hey, it's Dick Ray. Schedule your furnace tune-up today. Only $79. Call 913-DICK-RAY.
This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire, or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-290-0239. 800-290-0239. Again, that's 800-290-0239. Coverage, deductibles, and claims may vary. For details, go to endurancewarranty.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. You know, I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. You know, basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Weekdays starting at 2 on Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Hey, let me tell you guys that PFF has you covered all season long with the best data, tools, and analysis in the game. Sign up for PFF Plus today to unlock all of their famous player grades and premium stats. No matter what you're looking for, PFF Plus has what you need to make winning decisions all season long. You can sign up for PFF Plus today for less than $10 a month. Let's go to Dalton Wasserman. He is a data analyst over at PFF. Let's go through some of the recent moves in the National Football League. Dalton, how you doing today, my man?
Fantastic. Another good week of football in the books. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Let's just start with this. What was your reaction to the trade that sends Deontay Johnson to Baltimore?
I think it's a good move for them. I think one of the things that I questioned about them coming into the year was just their depth at wide receiver, right? You had Zay Flowers, who's a really good second-year player, but Rashad Bateman's had kind of a rocky start to his career, and they're really kind of tight end-centric in the passing game. So I think if nothing else, it gives them another option, especially late in games, even, if there's a game in the playoffs where they fall behind. I think Johnson's another guy they can rely on.
I thought they were going to make a move at corner or pass rush. I am a little bit surprised when I saw the news today that Deontay Johnson got traded. I assumed it was going to be a more wide receiver needy team. I am a little bit surprised that the Ravens got him, given that that's not one of their biggest needs right now.
No, but I think they know at this point that if they're going to win the whole thing, they're going to win it with their offense, right? They've already been playing at an elite level, and, if their defense, if they can patch it together and just be solid enough in coverage come the end of the season, then this offense and Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and now another weapon, that's what's going to carry them to a Super Bowl. I kind of get it. Work to your strengths and see what you can do on offense and see if you can just get in the playoffs and outscore everybody this time.
Which one of the trades do you think is a better in terms of the compensation? We'll get to fit here in a bit, but which of these trades do you think actually from a compensation standpoint is the best trade? Do you think it's the Amari Cooper trade, DeAndre Hopkins, or Deontay Johnson?
Honestly, man, they're all pretty good, honestly. I mean, and I know the Bills, I really like the fit with Amari Cooper and the Bills, along with the compensation. They didn't give up a whole lot to get him, right? And I think he's a guy that gives them a chance for somebody to win man-to-man, right? A guy that they were missing was Stephon Diggs once they traded Stephon Diggs. For the value of it, I think of those three, I think Cooper will have the most impact on the Bills, but I think they're all three pretty fair trades.
Right now, we're talking to Dalton Wasserman of PFF, going through some of the recent moves in the National Football League. All right, let's get to the Kansas City Chiefs. I like the fit for DeAndre Hopkins in Kansas City. His usage wasn't very high in week one, but there's a lot of time to get there. What did you see from him in week one? What do you think his role is going to be as it expands over the course of the upcoming weeks?
I think his role, similar to Cooper in Buffalo, he's a guy who can win one-on-one, and he can do maybe not all of the things that Rashee Rice could do before he could get hurt, because he was a really young separator who was getting really good at the game at the NFL level. But Hopkins can give him a one-on-one option while the Chiefs have all those other movable pieces and all the stuff that Andy Reid does with his play calls. He's a guy who can line up one-on-one. He's a savvy veteran route runner who just knows how to get open, right? He's not as explosive as he used to be, but he knows what he's doing out there. He has the confidence to separate one-on-one against any corner in the league, and I think that's going to be a big asset to their offense when you talk about just times when you need, we just need to go to this one guy. We know he's going to get open where we need him to be. And I think as the season goes on, as he gets more into the playbook, he's going to be really helpful for them.
I am curious with you guys' data, when do you start to notice a decline with the player, and what do you start to notice? Because you mentioned it, that D-Hop is not the same player that he was. I don't think anyone expects him to be that at 32 years old. But when you start to see a drop in guys' performances, what are usually the signs that this player is declining?
I think there's three things you look for, right? And it's one, it's explosiveness, right? And guys just, as they get older, they're not as explosive as they used to be. Two is separation before the catch, right? How often are you getting separation? How often are you getting open in these routes? And the third one is when you start seeing after the catch a decline in things like, missed tackles forced or yards after the catch. And so I think there's really elements to all three of them, especially before and after the catch. You can see different signs in different spots on the field, and some guys have certain attributes that last longer than others. I think Hopkins, really, especially before the catch, is still really, really good. Just doesn't give you quite as much with the ball in his hands like he used to.
What would you classify as reasonable expectations for D-Hop as we get closer to the postseason? Or is this just a move that you really can't evaluate until we get to January and Kansas City starts playing in those important games?
Yeah, I mean, see, here's the thing. The AFC West title is a foregone conclusion, right? We already know they're going to win the division. They're going to be at least the top three seed in the conference, if not number one. They're already 7-0 so far this season. So it's really a move that's meant for January, and that's how we evaluate the Chiefs nowadays, right? It's just how far they get in the playoffs, because we know they're getting there. So I think they gave themselves enough time for Hopkins to get in the playbook, to adjust, and we can really judge those moves come the playoff games, because whether they had them or not, they were going to win this division. So we'll judge them as we do every year with the Chiefs on whether or not they win a Super Bowl with them.
When you're looking at Kansas City, and we're talking to Dalton Wasserman of PFF, do you think they're more needy at corner? Do you think they're more needy at wide receiver, or do you think it's at left tackle?
I would say probably at wide receiver. I mean, it's. I think the offensive line is so good on the interior that you really look at them and you go, they're good enough, and Patrick Mahomes knows how to get rid of the football. But no, those weapons on the outside, you need guys who can separate. And the Rashee Rice injury, that really that put a big dent in their offense, I think. I think you're talking about a team that lost its best separator on the outside, a guy who was really emerging as a one-on-one threat. So I think receiver was the biggest need.
We were looking at Darius Slayton as being a possibility. Do you think he's a good fit in Kansas City, or is there someone else that could possibly be available that you think Kansas City should possibly target?
It seems, I mean, Slayton's a good option. It seems like Hopkins was the guy to go get as that veteran separator, right? Andy Reid loves his good route runners, and Hopkins is a really, really good one. I think they're probably going to stand pat at this point. I mean, they got Juju Smith-Schuster back. Now you got Hopkins. They're developing Xavier Worthy. So I would say the most likely outcome is they're just going to work with their internal options and keep improving that way.
Right now, we're talking to PFF's Dalton Wasserman for a couple of more minutes here. One more Chiefs question. I want to move to the Texans and what you think they're going to do now with the Diggs injury. The Chiefs just got Josh Uche, a pass rusher from the New England Patriots. What can you tell us about him? What are his strengths? He's a guy who got 11 and a half sacks a couple of seasons ago. He also has some clear weaknesses. What are those?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you have is a guy who's really athletic but doesn't always play the most fundamentally sound football, and maybe not the strongest run defender, but what you're talking about is him going to a situation where he can play to his strengths, especially as most likely a designated sort of pass rusher, right? And Steve Spagnuolo is the best in the business at using guys to their strengths and using guys in situations that help them succeed, right? He already does it with a boatload of players on his defense now. There's run down guys, there's passing down guys, there's everything in between. There's only a couple of guys really who play every single snap for them, right? When you talk about a Chris Jones or a Trent McDuffie, but I think you're getting a guy who's an athletic pass rusher who has a previous reputation as being a really good pass rusher off the edge, and a guy who can help, especially on those third downs, just give a little bit of extra juice off the edge and get another blocker, maybe a little more attention away from Chris Jones.
Injuries have really become a theme of this season. Kansas City is pretty banged up right now. San Francisco's been banged up for most of the season. Houston is starting to be the latest team that is starting to take on injuries. Nico Collins is dealing with an injury right now, and they just lost Diggs for the remainder of the season with an ACL injury. Are you still considering Houston to be one of those contending teams in the AFC, or have these injuries removed them from that conversation?
I think they're still in it, but the couple of concerns I have, one is obviously those receiver injuries you just mentioned, and they really need Nico Collins back healthy now as soon as possible, because when he was playing like arguably the best receiver in football. But the weapons are an issue, and I actually, just as a matchup thing, even with a team like Kansas City, because when you're talking about the AFC, the real question is, okay, who is equipped to beat the Chiefs? And the other problem I have with the Texans right now is their interior of their offensive line. I really don't know how they have an answer to Chris Jones right now with the way their interior unit's struggling. So I think the Texans can get in that mix. I do think they're one of the 3 or 4 best teams, but make no mistake, the Diggs injury, that really hurts them, because now that was the one that, along with Joe Mixon, that was the big addition to the offense that really made them possibly an elite unit, and him being done for the year and Collins still being hurt, those are big losses.
We're always asking this question here. Who do you see as the biggest contender to Kansas City? Do you think it's Baltimore or Buffalo?
I think it's Baltimore. Buffalo, I don't know that I trust their defense still in big spots, and I know they've been better lately, but they just kind of have that thing against the Chiefs where their defense just doesn't perform head-to-head. Baltimore, you look at adding Johnson, obviously adding Derrick Henry in the offseason. I think they just have a few more answers, and if their defense can figure it out a little bit better than they have lately, I think the Ravens are the biggest threat.
That is Dalton Wasserman joining us on the show today. He is with PFF. He is a data analyst. Be sure to sign up for PFF Plus to get the most out of the football season. Dalton, great stuff, man. We appreciate the insight.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Take care, man. That is Dalton Wasserman joining us on the show. Let's react to what he had to say coming up on the other side. I like what he had to say about Uche and the kind of player that he is, and it just continues. Everything I've heard about Uche and what his expectations are just really make me more excited about this trade, and I want to give you guys a stat on Xavier Worthy. That's all coming up. Keep it right here, so drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
If you're in need of a midweek boost, FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app, has you covered with the Hump Day Parlays reward stack. Now, every Wednesday, You can get parlay profit boost on everything from spreads, over-under, and even player props. So don't let the weekend have all the fun. Take advantage of the Hump Day Parlays reward stack. Who knows? It just may become your favorite day. Look out for the Hump Day Parlays reward stack in the FanDuel app to find all of your profit boosts. New to FanDuel, visit FanDuel.com/CDOT and use my promo code. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit token boost. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Fall in the Midwest is pleasant. The air is crisp, the temperatures are mild, and all is right with the world. But every one of you knows that lurking around the corner is creepy old man Winter. He wants to come into your home, put his feet up on the couch, and take over the remote. That's why you need to replace your drafty old windows with triple glass replacement windows from Thermo King. Triple glass? But weren't you told that double glass windows were all you'd ever need? Think again. Triple glass windows offer double the insulating barriers against creepy old man Winter than double glass windows. And their super strong frames are guaranteed to never twist, warp, fade, or fail. And right now, Thermo King is selling their triple glass windows for the same price as double glass. Who would do such a thing? Thermo King, that's who. So don't let this beautiful weather fool you. Protect your home from creepy old man Winter and call Thermo King today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
So this new dose is... nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
I am dedicated. I am TNT.
Team in Training will change your life with a marathon, half marathon, triathlon, or a cycle event, and you'll change the lives of blood cancer patients. Join TNT, fundraise for blood cancer patients, train with world-class trainers, and be part of the most exciting endurance sports events in the country. Or train on your own schedule with TNT Flex.
Join TNT now. Go to teamintraining.org.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Protect yourself. Get the updated COVID-19 vaccine and your flu shot at the same time at Hy-Vee. That's right, you can save time and get your COVID-19 and flu shot at the same time. Schedule your updated COVID-19 vaccine and flu shot online today, or just stop by any Hy-Vee pharmacy whenever it's convenient for you. No appointment necessary. Plus, when you get your flu shot at Hy-Vee, earn a 20-cent fuel saver. Your Hy-Vee pharmacy is here to help you and your family stay healthy. Some restrictions apply.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering,
ranking, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic's brought to you by Metro Ford, online at kcmetroford.com. Seeing some slowdowns happening into downtown via northbound 35. Southbound 71 starts at about MLK, and eastbound 70 once you get out of the 435 exchange. Also looking at heavy traffic. Want more from your dealership? At Metro Ford, every new vehicle comes with a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. Family owned, just 10 minutes from downtown, and packed with unbeatable value. Drive smarter only at Metro Ford, online at kcmetroford.com. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Trent McDuffie. Welcome to The Drive with CDOT on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, you know what? Let's talk about Josh Uche before I give you this Xavier Worthy stat, because I don't know how you guys are going to handle the Xavier Worthy stat. Rob, everything that we've heard about Josh Uche is a really, really encouraging sign. And I will say, and I want to give you guys credit, I got to give credit where credit is due. If the text line was a real person, I would dap the text line up right now. You guys have been very realistic about Joshua Uche. You really have been. Usually when a guy has shown a little bit of something in the past and then the Chiefs get him, you guys go crazy. Now, he has had a double-digit sack season in his career, 11 and a half sacks. But I will say this, you guys are going into this with the right mindset for this. I'm a little surprised. Maybe you guys are growing up a little bit. You know what that's called? It's called growth. I'll give you guys that. I haven't seen too much unrealistic expectations on the text line. I think you guys know what it is. You know this is a lotto ticket, and you know that the Chiefs are taking a gamble. You know what? Let me go and dap you guys up here. I'm proud of you guys. Bill Belichick likes to move.
I mean, look, Pat, how many players in the 6th round in 25 do you think are really going to help the Kansas City Chiefs win? I don't know. I wouldn't say there's probably a long list of them. Could Uche help them win this year? Absolutely. How many players in the 5th round next year are going to help Kansas City win? I don't know. Be lucky if the guy makes the team. I mean, the Chiefs have a pretty good team. Can Hopkins help them win? Sure. Like, those trades don't really amount to much of anything in the big picture. If you want a 5th back, I'm sure they can move back in the 1st or 2nd round and get a 5th, or probably get 5 or 6 of them if they really want 5th round picks. But I think what they need are players that will impact the game and help them, address their depth in different areas, and I think they've done a great job of that.
Bill, that's exactly what I think. I think this was a move to address their depth. Not every move needs to be a home run swing. Not every meal you have is a 5-star meal. Sometimes you're just hungry, and you need something to hold you over until you get to dinner. That's what I look at this move. This isn't a long-term answer or solution for the Kansas City Chiefs. This is we have an immediate need. It doesn't cost really anything for us to go meet this need. Let's go get them. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, okay, that's fine. This is the best situation for Joshua Uche to come into. We didn't spend a whole lot of time talking about that yesterday. This is the perfect situation to come into. You're a mid-round pick, you were a 2nd-round pick. You failed to meet expectations at your old job. You now get traded to a team that has some expectations, but there are no expectations on you. Maybe we never talk about Joshua Uche again. Maybe he ends up being a serious player for this team and balls out the rest of the year and goes off and he gets a good contract. That's a great scenario. You know, the best case scenario is Josh Uche has a good rest of his season and he goes to play next year with the Cleveland Browns or the Miami Dolphins, or he plays so well that you want to bring him back as a 26-year-old who still has something left in the tank. So again, text line, I want to give you guys credit. I'm not saying this jokingly. I am not saying this with any hyperbole. I don't say this tongue in cheek. You guys are handling the Josh Uche trade appropriately. Now, this is the thing that you're not handling well. There's a balance. There's always a yin and a yang. It's always right around the corner. I got to build you up to now I have to tear you down here a little bit. The one thing I don't understand about social media, because I know we say that Twitter is not real and social media is not real, but for the most part, the people that are using them are real people, is we know that context and nuance exist in real life, but somehow on our phones and computer screens, it doesn't exist. It's very, very odd to me. Like, we know that two things can be true. There doesn't always have to be a winner and a loser in a trade. Both teams can win. You and your wife can both be right in the argument for very different reasons. Like, we know that this exists, that the world is not black and white. It is very much in color. It is possible. I know it's possible that Xavier Worthy is not living up to all of the expectations and still perfectly fine. Like, I think both of those things are true when it comes to Xavier Worthy. I'll give you a stat here. I looked this up because I was curious. Rob, I have not told you this. Out of the last 20 times that the Chiefs have thrown Xavier Worthy the ball, how many yards do you think he has in those attempts? So these are targets. Out of the last 20 times that the Chiefs have dropped back and passed the ball to Xavier Worthy, how many yards do you think they've gained in those 20 attempts?
He's a big play guy, so you got to think he try. The thought process is he hits one, but you're not asking me if it's a big number, so I'm going to say it's like 185.
91 yards.
Yikes.
The Chiefs have 91 yards the last 20 times they have thrown it in Xavier Worthy's direction. Now, I am not mad at Xavier Worthy for that being the case. I'm really not mad at it. He is currently being placed into a role that he is not ready for. Xavier Worthy is not supposed to be a high volume guy. He had 8 targets last week. He had 8 targets the week before that. He is not a high volume kind of guy at this point in his career. Now, can he become a high volume guy? Can he be that in 5 weeks, 6 weeks, next year? Absolutely. We all can point to examples of how Chiefs players have grown and matured. Recent examples. Tyreek Hill is one of them. Rashee Rice is one of them. Absolutely. This is not me telling you that I think he's a bust or a bum or any of these kind of things. But right now, the Chiefs are asking Xavier Worthy to do something that he is currently not ready to do. You have put him in a situation that right now, he just ain't ready. He's not going to do a lot right now with the opportunity that they are trying to give him. And that's why I think you're really excited about DeAndre Hopkins, because you know what I want to do? I want to take some of the responsibility off Xavier Worthy's plate, and I want to try to focus in more on the things that he is doing really well. I think he has been exactly what the Chiefs need him to be in some other areas. He has 5 touchdowns so far in their first 7 games. He has been a big play guy, a jet sweep guy, gadget player. He had the big catch down the field against the Los Angeles Chargers. Xavier Worthy has some really good positives. But I think it's also safe to say that he and Patrick Mahomes, at least when it comes to simpatico and finding that rhythm and being on the same page, they are not close right now. I would say that he is as far away with Xavier Worthy as it feels like he was at times with Mecole Hardman. And you remember, that was a big criticism early on in Mecole Hardman's career, that he and Patrick were not on the same page. That's what it feels like at times with Xavier Worthy. A lot of the miscommunication that Pat has with his wide receivers, Xavier Worthy is usually in the middle of that miscommunication. So this is me telling you that there is a problem, but it's also fine. That the Chiefs are, I think, overusing one of their wide receivers at this point, but there's a solution. You would expect that they're going to throw it more to D-Hop more than 3 times than he got in the last game, and that his usage is about to increase. You're also expecting them to get Isaiah Pacheco back pretty soon here. So they could have 2 really dynamic running backs. That's a really good thunder and lightning, and you can take some of the load off of Kareem Hunt, who is getting a lot of touches and a lot of usage here. But at least right now, throwing the ball to Xavier Worthy as much as they are has not really resulted in a lot of good things and positivity for the Kansas City Chiefs. I would like to see them get Noah Gray a little bit more involved in the offense. I want to see Justin Watson get more targets the way that he did on Sunday. I'm actually all for the Chiefs until they get DeAndre Hopkins all squared away. I am for them spreading it out a little bit more and trying to use more of their weapons, because at times it felt like they were trying to force feed Xavier Worthy. And if you got less than 100 yards the last 20 times we have trying to throw you the football, I don't know if you are a guy that's worthy of a high volume right now.
I understand what you're saying, Carrington, and I agree that he's being forced into a high-volume role, and he's not equipped for the high-volume role. But I think you're being a little bit, just a dash, of a Chiefs apologist here, because we have seen wide receivers with the same skill set and the same issues that Xavier Worthy is having with Patrick Mahomes, and we didn't say things like, it's all right, they'll figure it out, it's just the role. We were hard on those players. You mentioned it there. That first training camp, McCole Hardman stopped on a go route up in St. Joe. And Mahomes, it was a social media viral clip. He was yelling at him, run, run, run. From that moment on, Chiefs fans judged McCole Hardman harshly. And when he was viewed as jet sweep, gadget player, just speed guy, the thought was always, that's not enough for what we got in his draft position. Kadarius Toney. They traded a day 2 pick to bring Toney in. He and Mahomes never seemed to gel. And he was then labeled jet sweep gadget play guy. And the punt return notwithstanding, most fans look back at the Kadarius Toney era and think that was not a success. So I get the sample size, but early going, it's looking more Hardman-Toney-ish, and we are hard on those as mistakes, and this was a first-round pick they traded up to make.
Yeah, but this is where I think we're being a little bit fair. Maybe just playing devil advocate, perfectly fine, right? Like, coming into this season, we expected Xavier Worthy to be their 4th option on offense, right? He was going to be behind Isaiah Pacheco. He was going to have more yards than Xavier Worthy is. We knew that he was behind Travis Kelce. He was behind Rashee Rice, and he's behind Hollywood Brown. So we thought he was at best the 5th option that they had in their offense. Now we're basing it off he's their 3rd option in this offense. That's not right. You and I both thought coming into the season he was going to be a 650-yard guy. You didn't hear a lot of sentiment that this year that Xavier Worthy was going to be an 850, 900, maybe 1,000-yard guy. I would say that he's pretty much in line to be what we thought he was going to be. It just stands out more because there are so many more opportunities that are available than we thought they were going to be. It's kind of like in basketball. There's just more shots that are available. If you were throwing the ball 20 times, it felt like, to Rashee Rice, and now those targets have to go somewhere else, they've tried to give some of those targets. They've tried to give some of those targets to Xavier Worthy. I just don't think that he can handle 8 to 10 targets a game at this point in his career. Maybe he'll be able to do that by Christmas. That's just not where he is today.
Let me ask you this, because you're right. This show was very good about this. We had reasonable expectations for Xavier Worthy. We said he's like a 600 to 650 guy back when we thought he was option number 4. He is trending toward 550 this season. Is that a success? Is that good enough? I would say yes because of all the factors you laid out, but I do think if fans are looking at it and saying, hold up, we traded up to get jet sweep 500-yard guy, and his volume went up, thus his yards should have gone up with it. Like, the amount of injuries notwithstanding, if I had told you after that first preseason game, hey, Hollywood Brown's out for like 90% of the season, you would have probably bumped up your Xavier Worthy stat prediction. You wouldn't have moved it down.
Not by much, though.
You wouldn't have moved it down, though, which is what he's doing or trending toward.
Yeah, not by much, though. And again, maybe you and I are just not on the same page, and that's perfectly fine if that's the case here. I just think now, because the number 1 and number 2 leading scorers are out, we now think Xavier Worthy is going to average 20 points a game. He ain't a 20-point-per-game guy. That's not who he is now at this stage in his career. Now, I get it. That's what Rashee Rice developed into. Maybe that's not what Xavier Worthy develops into. Just because Rice developed into that, just because Tyreek Hill developed into that, doesn't mean that Xavier Worthy's going to be there. But 8 games in, when his situation has drastically changed. Think about the offense that is around him now at this point. So much of it is situational. We thought that he was going to be in an offense that had a vertical down the field capability. Well, you were only going to have that if you had Rashee Rice and you had Hollywood Brown on the other side. That's not the offense that they currently have right now. Like, they need him to take on a different role than maybe you thought he was going to have at the very, very beginning of things. So I haven't changed my personal opinion yet on where he is as a player. And someone on the text line says it's a little hard to say that when the guys in front of him have been so good. I also think all of these guys were better prospects than Xavier Worthy. Like, literally every receiver that is ahead of him. It's kind of how the draft works. Tell me which of these guys that you thought Xavier Worthy was going to be better than. We didn't think he was going to be better than Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors. Romo Dunze's actually been okay. He's been kind of disappointing for a top 10 pick, but it's also very early on in his career, and that offense got off to a slow start. I never thought he was better than Brian Thomas Jr., then he was the next wide receiver taken. So these other guys are better prospects than he is. He's a late round guy. Sometimes those guys end up being big booms for where they are. Sometimes it takes them a little bit to figure it out. But if we're looking more at those guys that were outside that top, so there was those 3 receivers that went in the top 10, and Brian Thomas, thought could be a top 10 pick. Look at the wide receivers that were all picked within 10 picks of where he is. So Xavier Worthy was the 28th pick. Ricky Pearsall was the 31st overall pick. Now, his start of his career was different because of the injury. Xavier Legette, Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman has not gotten off to a great start in his career.
I mean, Keon Coleman's been better than Xavier Worthy.
A little bit.
No, it's marginal, but it's better's better.
And Ladd McConkey. And Jalen Polk was the 37th overall pick. So, I mean, Xavier Worthy was selected, and there were 6 wide receivers taken between 28 and 38. Would you now trade Xavier Worthy for any one of these wide receivers? If you could now go back, equipped with the information that we have halfway through his first season, would you go back and would you trade Xavier Worthy for Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Legette, Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey, or Jalen Polk? Because I wouldn't at this point. There might come a point that I would. I would not today. I would not go back and trade Xavier Worthy for any one of these other guys.
I would not make that trade either. I'm happy with the player they got. I just think because the Chiefs are winning and because everything's hunky-dory, I think we're somewhat holding Xavier Worthy to a different standard than we held other guys with his skill set in this offense. Because I was doing radio in Kansas City when McCole Hardman got drafted. It was not, hey, rainbows and unicorns, you're not on the same page with the quarterback, and you're just a jet sweep, more of a weapon type of guy. We good, though, be a punt return. That was not how McCole Hardman was met when he came in. And McCole Hardman probably a little bit unfairly got dinged for being a second-round pick. Fast forward 5 years, we're saying, look, he's better than the other late first-round picks, but he's not getting dinged for being a first-round pick. He's not getting dinged for being those same things. I just want consistency. Maybe not you, but if you were a fan that dinged McCole Hardman in year 1 or year 2, you have to be dinging Xavier Worthy for the exact same things right now because the player trajectory is very similar. If anything, Hardman in year 1 may have been better than Worthy in year 1.
Yeah, I mean, Hardman was also in an offense that had Tyreek
Hill also missed 5 weeks that year too with an injury, so it's
they also had Sammy Watkins in a much. I mean, they had prime Travis Kelce on that team. That is not who Xavier Worthy is currently playing with. He is not playing with prime Travis Kelce the way that he was. This is the thing too on the text line because a lot of people are saying some of this is on Patrick Mahomes. Maybe the person I would say that I'm probably the biggest apologist for is Patrick Mahomes. I just don't think that the Chiefs' offense is that great around him. I really don't think their offense is that good. The Chiefs have a below-average left tackle situation. As we all love Kareem Hunt, their running back is averaging less than 4 yards a carry. They don't have their number 1 wide receiver, their number 2 wide receiver, and their tight end is not who he was 24 months ago. Tell me the other quarterbacks that are doing well in that situation. Because if you tell me who you think the other top 5, 8 quarterbacks are in the NFL, their offensive situation is drastically better than what they got Patrick Mahomes playing with. So I'm not here to tell you that I think Mahomes has been perfect by any means. I don't think he has been perfect. Put Patrick Mahomes in the offense that Jared Goff has, where you give him 2 top 12 running backs in the NFL. You give him Amon-Ra St. Brown. You give him Sam Laporta. You give him Jamison Williams, and you give him Josh Reynolds. Patrick Mahomes would win MVP this year if that was the case, and all their games are indoors. The Rams haven't played outside yet so far this year. Put me in that situation. Give Patrick Mahomes what Kirk Cousins has in Atlanta. Give me one of those situations. So, again, I'm not telling you Patrick Mahomes has played perfect. He has certainly made a lot of mistakes. I think we got to factor in right now that the Chiefs quarterback is doing more with less than any top 10 quarterback currently in the NFL, maybe not named Dak Prescott.
I mean,
who really ain't doing a whole lot with less.
We did say before the season Josh Allen was given the least. Now, they've traded for Amari Cooper since then, but Josh Allen doesn't seem to be having the problems that Patrick Mahomes has. I think you said it perfectly. You're a little bit of a Patrick Mahomes apologist, and that's fine. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to turn it on and be a problem for the NFL in the postseason. But it's not lost on me that he is having his worst statistical season on the heels of last year being, before this year, his worst statistical season. The last 24 games of regular season Mahomes we have seen has been the worst version of Mahomes we have seen in Kansas City. Now, it could be weapons. It could be the league catching up to him. It could be a number of factors. The text line loves to tell me that regular season games don't matter. He could be treating them like the preseason. I don't know the answer, but I'm a little less apologist than you when I say that the last 2 years of Patrick Mahomes have been the worst versions of him we have ever seen.
I don't disagree with you. I would also say that over the course of the last 2 years, for any team, we can go through it. I really think that they have given them the worst. Again, Kareem Hunt has been fine this season. Kareem Hunt is averaging 3.7 yards per carry. James Cook is averaging 4.7 yards per carry. Like, the number one running back for the Bills is noticeably better than the number one running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. Noticeably better at this point. I just think that a majority of these other teams, they have pretty decent parts around their quarterback at this point. That I think the Chiefs are asking Patrick to do something that just and I've been saying this for 2 years. The Chiefs are asking their quarterback to do more with less than any other team in the National Football League. That is not what San Francisco's asking their quarterback to do. That's not what Minnesota's asking their quarterback to do. That's not what Green Bay. That's not what Detroit. No team that you think can actually do something, they are not playing with parts as bad as Patrick Mahomes is playing with parts with right now. And the fact that this team is undefeated and their number one wide receiver is out, their number two wide receiver has not played this season, their starting running back hasn't played in a month this year, is a testament to Mahomes and also how great their coaching staff is and how good their defense is. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll get to the top stories of the day in Kansas City. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Halloween's coming alive at Target. Jackie and Gordy, the Jack-O-Lanterns, here with last chance Halloween deals. Looks like Mom's got the old pumpkin bucket stocked with the best candy, starting at $5.99.
Lucky pumpkin bucket. Oh, there's Dad party planning with a same-day delivery order.
Yes, it's a BOGO 50% off pizza party with Target Circle. Plus, buy 3, save 40% on soda 12 packs with Target Circle.
Nice saves, Dad.
Make your Halloween come alive at Target. Need it last minute? Get same-day delivery with Target Circle 360. Restrictions apply.
Right now, 38 states allow sports betting, including 7 of Missouri's neighboring states. Amendment 2 gives Missouri sports fans the freedom to bet on games too, and that will generate over $100 million for our schools. Amendment 2 is endorsed by the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and Missouri's 2 biggest newspapers, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and the Kansas City Star. Here's Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith asking you to vote yes on 2.
Back in my day, I was the wizard of the infield. Now, I'm a grandfather. That's why I'm voting yes on Amendment 2. It means over $100 million for Missouri schools and teachers, and no more broken promises. There's a constitutional guarantee that the money goes to our schools, and legalizing sports betting is great for us fans too. That's why the Royals, Chiefs, Blues, and Cardinals all join me in saying yes on Amendment 2.
Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer. Hi. This weekly football recap is brought to you by MD Anderson Cancer Center.
We saw a lot of close games this past Sunday as Green Bay, New England, and Houston all won by just a field goal. Arizona defeated Miami by the final of 28-27. San Fran beat Dallas by 6, and KC beat Las Vegas by 7, and Washington beat Chicago on a thrilling Hail Mary as time expired.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is doing whatever it takes in the pursuit of making cancer history. Learn more at findyourmdanderson.com.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
Hey, diamond lovers. Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. When it's this important, you want someone who knows exactly how to work with your budget, not against it. Someone who knows you deserve a piece more beautiful than you've ever imagined. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've always sourced our diamonds and gemstones directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. So many in stock and ready to take home today. Create your dream engagement ring in 3 easy steps, or pick a perfectly preset ring that's created by our in-house design team. Browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts for everyone in your life, from diamond and gemstone studs to must-have tennis bracelets and beautiful birthstone necklaces. With our everyday competitive prices and unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company is your go-to destination for fine jewelry. Visit shaneco.com and come in to see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Brought to you by the Kansas City Symphony. This report is brought to you by the Kansas City Symphony. From Mozart's Requiem to your favorite movie scores. With the Kansas City Symphony, there's no wrong way to symphony. Get your tickets today at kcsymphony.org. That's kcsymphony.org.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Online at heartlandfr.com. Got a stalled car closing the left lane eastbound 470 just before Raytown Road. Also slowdowns into downtown and at the 435 and 70 exchange. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Welcome to your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
There's been a couple of wide receiver news over the course of the day. The first big news is that Deontay Johnson, he is no longer with the Carolina Panthers. He has been traded. He is now the newest member of the Baltimore Ravens. Here's Nate Taylor on the Deontay Johnson trade.
But I also know, too, that, that's why he brought in Todd Monken, right?
Sure.
Some degree. Now, hey, let's not go buck wow. But I mean, look, he was throwing to Odell Beckham and who was the other receiver? Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, Bateman's still there.
Yeah, I mean, those were his second and third options in the AFC Championship game last year, and the Chiefs essentially smothered them. His only receiver that was effective was Zay Flowers, a rookie, and obviously we know his mistakes in that game. So, again, if you're trying to build and this is what I love, honestly, just from an observer, someone who's obviously, been a reporter, been covering the NFL for a decent amount of time. You just want to see relatively smart, competitive moves to elevate the competition. because there was an argument that last year was the year you should have gotten the Chiefs, i.e. that's the Ravens' issue. And so to rectify that, you need to do as much as possible to give yourself a chance. I didn't think Buffalo was going to be this good.
I didn't either.
And now they're in the mix, right? Same with Baltimore. Baltimore fell back, obviously losing to the Browns, and so you're encouraged a little bit to do more. I think it's really a 4-team race now in the AFC. We pretty much know who is going to win each division, and then we move forward from there. So, I love this because and I believe the Chiefs and Ravens will probably meet sometime in January. He was not involved in the first game. Neither was DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
So all those
Rasheed
factors.
Rice was.
Yeah, right. Exactly. All those factors make it intriguing.
I am really intrigued by the fact, and that was Nate Taylor. He was on the midday show earlier. It is really intriguing to me that a 28-year-old wide receiver was available. A guy who has had a 1,000-yard season in his career. A guy who is on an aspiring the contract is over at the end of this year. He also is owed less than $1 million. And all he could generate was a 5th-round pick swap. That's what it was for that guy. That's what it was. In order to go get Deontay Johnson, you had to give up your 5th-round pick, and you get back a 6th-round pick. So you just moved down, and Carolina was willing to eat 3 out of the $3.7 million that he is owed the rest of the season. Like, something suspicious about that. Because there's a lot of wide receiver needy teams that are out there. Why was Deontay Johnson not more of a wanted commodity? The Ravens are the only team that could use a wide receiver down the stretch. Offense has been top 5 so far in the National Football League. That was the only team. Now, maybe they just weren't going to trade him in their division. I mean, Tampa Bay could certainly use Deontay Johnson. Don't think they were trading him to Tampa Bay. Also, don't think they were trading him to New Orleans. They could also use some wide receiver help as well. But it is pretty interesting to me that you would think that Deontay, like, if I had set all the information out in front of you, let's say 2 weeks ago, hey, here's a 28-year-old guy who's been pretty productive over the course of his career. Here's a 30-year-old guy who's been pretty productive over the course of his year, and a 32-year-old player. The 28-year-old player got the least amount back in compensation than the other 2 players. The Chiefs gave up more to go get D-Hop than the Ravens gave up to go get Deontay Johnson. Same thing with Amari Cooper, even though Deontay Johnson is the younger and healthier player of the 2. I always say that in college athletics, you will find out how the rest of college football or college basketball feels when your job is open. Who do you hire? When USC was open, they took Oklahoma's coach. When LSU was open, they took Notre Dame's coach. That's how the rest of the country feels about those jobs. Hey, they're pretty good. I'm looking at these situations, and it's just, okay, interesting. Now, when this is the time to assess what your value is. People like me and you, Rob, can throw out what we think guys are worth in a trade. The NFL will ultimately determine what the trade is. And to go get Deontay Johnson, you had to give up 11 spots possibly in the NFL draft. And good teams, most teams were like, nah, we're good. We don't want him.
I think this highlights something that isn't we know as fans and as media members, but we can't see. Because we've seen it now a couple players leave the Steelers and no one wants them. And by no one wants them, I mean like they were done. There was a thought that they were a problem in the locker room. There was a thought that, hey, you're not a fit. We don't want you. Like, think about Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool was a productive wide receiver for the Steelers. Like,
no, you're right.
He was a good player.
And to your point, the league knew about Chase Claypool pretty early on, and we're out pretty early on.
The league knew way ahead of me and you. And like all we had was that little viral clip. Remember, Roethlisberger gets the first down, and he's doing a little dance, and they can't spike it in time. But the league knew, oh, Tomlin and co are out. We're out on Chase Claypool. And you're seeing a lot of the same things here. Because Deontay Johnson, before he went to Carolina, remember the story was the Steelers didn't want to give him to the Chiefs. It turns out the Chiefs probably didn't want him that bad at all, or didn't want him now knowing the story in Carolina. And when you see the story in Carolina, it all makes more sense. oh, if Tomlin and co can't handle him, we don't want to deal with him. So those red flags that we sometimes make fun of on draft boards, the character concerns, where it's like, oh, he smoked weed, and we all have a hearty laugh about it. Some of those red flags are noticeable because when people leave the Steelers, at least, ain't no one in the league want him afterwards. It's basically you're done.
I want to play what Adam Schefter had to say. There was another wide receiver tidbit today. Diggs, Stephon Diggs, he is out for the remainder of the season. He tore his ACL on Sunday.
Well, first of all, you hope Stephon Diggs is okay. And I don't know that I've heard the Texans linked to very many wide receivers. I think they still could. Nico Collins is going to be on IR for another week. They still have Tank Dell. They still have Robert Woods. They still have John Mechie. They still have other wide receivers. But you obviously lose a big-time weapon in Stephon Diggs, who was in the last year of his contract. You hope he gets well by the time he becomes a free agent. But obviously a big blow for him having the torn ACL. And the Texans, again, I haven't heard them linked. We kind of knew that this was what it was. You're just waiting for somebody to confirm that he was going to be out for the year. And D'Amico Ryans told reporters, 5-10 minutes ago, that he tore his ACL. He's out for the year.
I think this injury is a really good sign of how sometimes your team can have the right amount of talent to win the Super Bowl. I think Houston is really good. Joe Mixon has a lot more left in the tank than I thought he did when he was leaving Cincinnati. They're really good at quarterback. They've had really good running back play so far this season. They had arguably a top 5 wide receiver room to start the season with Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, and you also had Tank Dell in that room. I really liked their tight end. They had a good defense. There was a lot of things to be excited about with Houston. Fast forward 2 months of the NFL season. Nico Collins' hamstring is bad. Diggs, your big offseason acquisition, has torn his ACL, and now their offensive line's a little bit leaky here. I'm not ready to fully eliminate Houston from that conversation, but the shine is definitely off of Houston. Houston's not in the same category to me as those other 3 teams. Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore. I know that Baltimore has 2 losses. I know that they lost to Cleveland. I know they lost to the Raiders. I also know that Buffalo lost on the road earlier this season to Houston, so maybe you still have the Texans ahead of them, but it just goes to show you it's not just who's your quarterback. There's a lot of other things that all have to kind of align itself perfectly in order for you to win a Super Bowl and do something truly special. Houston was one of those teams that was in the mix, but you're not winning the Super Bowl with no Nico Collins unless he gets back and he gets healthy. You're not winning the Super Bowl without your big offseason addition and going out and getting Stephon Diggs. So we'll see what Houston does down the stretch. I'm willing to put Houston in that tier 2 conversation, at least for me in the AFC. I cannot put them on the same level as those 2 other teams, not with the injuries that they have taken over the course of the last month or so. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll go through the top stories of the day. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Online at heartlandfr.com. A stalled car closing the left lane eastbound 470 just before Raytown Road. Also slowdowns into downtown and at the 435 and 70 exchange. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? 'Cause I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
You okay?
Sorry. I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
If you own or run a restaurant, I'm sure you'd rather it be known for its 5-star rating, not a 5-alarm fire. Keller Fire and Safety installs and services fire alarm systems, extinguishers, and kitchen hood suppression systems to keep your kitchen safer and better prepared to contain an emergency. Keller can handle any size project, with clients as large as Kauffman Stadium and as small as your local barbecue joint. Because charred, smoked, and blackened should only refer to menu items, not the rest of your restaurant.
Keller Fire and Safety. KellerFire.com.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Dick Ray, he's your heating magician. Dick Ray, he's a man on a mission. In the dead of winter when the furnace is broken and a chill is in the air, you can call Dick Ray and he'll fix it up with care. He's always there. Call Dick Ray, he's your heating magician.
Hey, it's Dick Ray. Schedule your furnace tune-up today. Only $79. Call 913-DICK-RAY.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? Because I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Halloween's coming alive at Target. Jackie and Gordy, the Jack-O-Lanterns, here with last chance Halloween deals. Looks like Mom's got the old pumpkin bucket stocked with the best candy, starting at $5.99.
Lucky pumpkin bucket. Oh, there's Dad party planning with a same-day delivery order.
Yes, it's a BOGO 50% off pizza party with Target Circle. Plus, buy 3, save 40% on soda 12 packs with Target Circle.
Nice saves, Dad.
Make your Halloween come alive at Target. Need it last minute? Get same-day delivery with Target Circle 360. Restrictions apply.
This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire, or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-290-0239. 800-290-0239. Again, that's 800-290-0239. Coverage, deductibles, and claims may vary. For details, go to endurancewarranty.com.
Tonight, expect mostly cloudy skies with a low of 68.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. Thank you so much for listening. It is The Drive. My name is Carrington. Rob is here being positive as always. You know what, Rob? I feel like a little bit of your joy of the football season has been taken away by the fact that you are a season ticket holder for maybe the most disappointing team in college football. You don't have a bubbly spirit about you in football this year. You don't have that bounce. Like, I'm seeing the numbers from the 785. The 785, they're usually kind of grumpy on the text line. 785's positive, and I get it. It makes sense to me why you're in a good mood. You know, maybe you live out more, and you live close to Manhattan. Your team is doing good. The Chiefs are doing good. Your team's got a good transfer portal. You guys are in good spirits. The 913, y'all a little hostile for some reason. I get it. I understand. You spent all June and July telling me how this was different, and it doesn't appear to be different for you. This is the same KU football season you've seen. It's also the same Missouri season I've seen, but that's not what we're talking about right now. You just don't have that same bubbly spirit about you.
It doesn't help that my basketball team got thumped in a scrimmage by Arkansas.
I mean, that doesn't even matter. Yo, did you see that Shane Hunter Dickinson hat on?
That
Yo,
NIL money's
what are y'all paying over there? What are y'all
good.
paying over there? What is going on? I saw the video. I saw Hunter Dickinson wasn't playing, and then I saw that Cheney hat on. I was like, oh, he fine. He all right. He'll be fine. You guys got North Carolina next week, right? Next Friday. You guys got North Carolina coming.
Next Friday, yeah.
Man, I don't know if you heard this. North Carolina's already started the game in foul trouble. I don't know if you heard that or not. They're already in foul trouble. It's crazy. I don't even know how. They haven't even started playing yet. Their best player already has 2 fouls and is headed to the bench in the first 3 minutes of the game. It's crazy the way Allen Fieldhouse works.
And we're 2 weeks away from Duke. I mean, you know what? I'll be back.
You'll definitely.
Champions Classic.
You'll definitely be back. You'll definitely be back.
53-49 Champions Classic over Michigan State. You'll complain about the sport. I'll rave about their toughness.
No,
and
I told you,
tenacity.
I don't complain about college basketball anymore. No, I'm done complaining about college basketball. I don't have any complaining about college basketball. None. I don't have any. I don't know. I'm over it. I'm not going to complain about it. I love college basketball for what it is. I appreciate college basketball for what it is. When do they play Duke? When's that coming up?
It's in Vegas. I think it's in like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
Can't wait to watch Cooper Flag give you guys
fits. Did you see how they did again? They were scrimmaging against Arizona State.
Arizona State by 75 points. It was terrible what they did to them. All right, we kind of got a lot to get into. The Raiders are not good. The Chiefs don't play until Monday night. It's kind of a weird week, but the Chiefs have made a trade this week. The Ravens have also made a trade this week, and the Texans, they lost their number 1 wide receiver. So it's still a lot happening. Hit it, Rob.
It's 5 o'clock, and your wife has tuna casserole ready for you at home. Might as well get caught up on the biggest stories of the day in Kansas City with C-Dot and Rob. This is The Hits. Number 1.
Carrington, as always, the hits are brought to you by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Well, the top story in Kansas City, Carrington, actually doesn't involve the Kansas City Chiefs, as we saw another NFL wide receiver trade today. Deontay Johnson is headed from the Panthers to the Baltimore Ravens. He is sent there with the 6th-round pick in exchange for a 5th-round pick. Carrington, are you surprised the Chiefs weren't in on this deal considering the low acquisition cost?
Yeah, no, I'm not really that surprised about it. You can fade the music down just a little bit here. Let's talk a little bit more about Deontay Johnson. Now, Deontay Johnson was on my list. He was actually pretty high on my list, but there's the same way that I told you with Amari Cooper, there's some negatives, like Amari Cooper's hands are a little shaky. The same way that I think there are negatives with DeAndre Hopkins. He is the oldest of those 3 wide receivers. He is the most injured out of those 3 wide receivers. DeAndre Hopkins is not a perfect prospect. I think you would also have to say that, too, with Deontay Johnson. I mean, this is now Deontay Johnson's 3rd team in 3 years. He has been traded from 2 of those teams. You have not really seen a lack of commitment, and he is by far and away the least accomplished out of those 3 players. It is very interesting to me when you now see the compensation that the Ravens gave up. First off, for the Ravens, it's a good trade for the Ravens. I think all 3 teams, the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Ravens, all 3 of them made really good trades for what they need. Buffalo got a guy who is I don't want to say true number one, but is your best receiver, a proven producer at this level. The Chiefs got an experienced, reliable, great hands, tough, over the middle. That's what they got with D-Hop. The Ravens got a little bit of punch. Now, part of me feels like the Ravens did this to try to keep up with what the other two teams did. You saw this team go do something and this other team did something, so now you got to make a move. But while I give the Ravens a lot of credit for this, the Ravens didn't give up anything to acquire said player. So the Ravens, they give up their 5th round pick, which we assume is going to be on the back half of the 5th round. They're going to win the division. They're going to make the playoffs, maybe win a game or two. So the Ravens are trading their 5th round pick. They get Deontay Johnson and Carolina's 6th round pick. So if you're the Ravens and you move back from your 5th round pick to Carolina's 6th round pick, you pick up Deontay Johnson in the process, and Carolina is going to eat $3 million where you only owe Deontay Johnson less than $780,000 between now and the end of the season. I don't know how you don't make this trade if you're the Ravens, even if the Ravens have more needs than that. I still think the Ravens need a pass rusher. I think the Ravens need a corner. Deontay Johnson is neither one of those things. But for less than $1 million and us moving back 13 spots in the NFL draft, sure, we'll take Deontay Johnson if that's the case. So I really think that all three teams are better because of this trade and the compensation. I don't mind what the Bills gave up to get Amari Cooper. I think the Chiefs gave up the right amount to go get DeAndre Hopkins, and I don't know how you can be mad at the Ravens trade. They didn't even give up an asset. They just simply moved back in the NFL draft and acquired Deontay Johnson as a mercenary rental piece between now and the end of the season. It will now be fun to track to see which one of those guys has the most productive end of the season. Because the Chiefs had a chance, you would think realistically, at getting all three of these individuals, and they decided which one they wanted. They could have got Deontay Johnson. If you're telling me it didn't even take a draft pick compensation, it took moving back in the draft, the Chiefs could have got Deontay Johnson if they wanted to. They made the decision not to. They also could have got Amari Cooper. They didn't want to spend the price. So we will see over the course of now until the middle of January, we will see who made the best trade out of those three, which one of those players moved the needle the most, and which one of those players can help their team in the postseason.
Number 2.
Speaking of all three of those players, Carrington, it seems like the Chiefs had a certain type in mind, and even though Deontay Johnson on the field looked like their type, you explained to me earlier today that, hey, maybe what D-Hop does that we can't see is why the Chiefs were targeting a guy like Hopkins over Deontay Johnson. It's all about culture fit.
Yeah, no, I think the culture fit's a really big deal. Let me play this for you. This is Mitch Holtis yesterday on the show talking about D-Hop and how he believes D-Hop is going to fit into the culture of what the Chiefs are doing.
I've been very impressed in my brief discussions with DeAndre Hopkins. It's in Drew Tranquil. We go right down the line. Justin Reed, our guest tonight on the Kingdom Show. These guys not only assimilate into your culture, they've enhanced the culture. And I really expect that with D-Hop, and hopefully Josh can do the same thing in the fact that these guys add to what you have, even beyond the field, and they don't work counterproductive to what you have off the field, because that can wreck a team. We've seen that before throughout the NFL and with the Chiefs throughout history.
There was a story earlier today on ESPN.com. It is free. It's not behind a paywall. I would encourage every single person listening to read this story. It doesn't matter if you're a Chiefs fan or if you're not a Chiefs fan. It is a pretty long and lengthy story from Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, basically on how the Chiefs are the Chiefs. And there are some great quotes in here from anonymous sources around the league that kind of tells you how the Chiefs operate and what makes them different. I highlighted some of them, and I want to read them to you. So they were talking about Patrick Mahomes' contract and how it's a big benefit. And Howie Roseman, who is the general manager for the Eagles, talks about how big of an advantage it is that Kansas City has Mahomes locked in and his contract is so flexible that they can change it. And the fact that they are on the same page with their quarterback just gives them a financial advantage over everybody. I think we sort of overplay that Mahomes is taking less money to play in Kansas City. He's not taking less money to play in Kansas City. His contract is pretty much in line with what the market says that he's worth, but Mahomes has always shown a willingness to kind of move things around. all right, you guys owe me $20, but instead of you guys paying me $10 today, you know what? Why don't you give me $1 here? You guys give me $3.25 tomorrow. And you know what? We'll figure it out along the way. That's the kind of contract that the Chiefs have with Patrick Mahomes. So let me read one of these quotes with you. Quote, this is an NFC executive. He says that none of it works if you don't really have a good QB, which is why teams are willing to pay the premium. But what shows and what's different with Kansas City is that both sides are willing to work with each other to stay together and remain nimble. He's clearly working with them. If you have a top-paid quarterback and they take a big chunk of this cap, you are having to figure out which 3 or 4 guys at the top, and then there's a big gap. But because of Mahomes' contract, the Chiefs can work the middle class a bit more than some of the other teams. There are a lot of different reasons for why the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is on their team. It's a big reason why the Chiefs are the Chiefs. The Chiefs have the best defense in the National Football League. A big reason why the Chiefs are the Chiefs. The number one reason that the Chiefs are good is because everybody is on the same page. And there's a lot of teams in the NFL that maybe have more talent than Kansas City, but are not all pushing in the same direction. We are going to watch a team like that coming up in 2 days on Thursday Night Football with the New York Jets. The Jets have a lot of good pieces. I still think their quarterback has some good football left. I think they have a top 5 running back in the NFL with Breece Hall. I really like Braylon Allen. I think they have great wide receivers and a capable tight end. I think their defense is really good. No one appears to be on the same page. And it's really hard to win in the NFL, even if everybody is on the same page. It is nearly impossible to do it if your quarterback is off doing this, your wide receiver wants this guy wants this. The number one reason that the Chiefs win is that everybody is on the same page. In almost every single aspect. When was the last time that you heard an anonymous report come out of Kansas City's locker room? Think about that. Think about how often anonymous reports and sources and things pop up in the National Football League. When was the last time that one of those stories came about the Chiefs? They never come about the Chiefs. When was the last time that it didn't appear that Kansas City was on the same page and working together or did something that you thought was outside of what they usually do? No, the Chiefs have a system, they have a plan, and they go from there. Another thing that they say, quote, Kansas City knows who they are, probably more than any other team. With most teams, what most people don't realize is there is a disconnect between the GM, personnel, scouts, and coaching staff. Even good teams don't always have a connection there, but the Chiefs do. I actually think most of us realize that there's a disconnect between the GM, personnel, scouts, and coaching staffs. We watch the football product on Sunday. I can see that there's a disconnect. I can see how the owner wants this quarterback, but the coach likes this quarterback, or this player likes this. You can see it on Sundays in the National Football League. You don't have those problems in Kansas City. So again, there are a lot of reasons for why the Chiefs are the Chiefs. The number one reason that the Chiefs are on the Chiefs is they have a very talented roster, and they have been able to constantly push in the same direction. If at any moment they don't feel like you are pushing in the same direction as the group, you will not be on the team anymore. It does not matter who you are. You could be Marcus Peters, an all-pro corner. You can be Tyreek Hill, an all-pro wide receiver. You can be Tyrann Mathieu, who might go in the Chiefs Ring of Honor. If at any moment they feel like you are not on the same page as the group, you will not be on that team for that much longer. That's why the Chiefs continue to win. That's hit number 2.
Number 3.
Speaking of the Kansas City Chiefs, Carrington, there was a time in Chiefs lore where they would absolutely boat race teams. I'm talking 49-14, 35-7, just putting it on teams. We're talking 2018, 2019. It was sexy. It was flashy. It was very aesthetically pleasing. But Carrington, you laid it out perfectly earlier today. They might not be that razzle-dazzle flashy team anymore, but despite changes, despite becoming more ground and pound, an offensive coordinator change, whatever have you, the Chiefs just continue to find way after way after way after way to win. They aren't flashy, but they haven't stopped being successful.
Let me play for you guys what Dana Hughes had to say, and this what gave me that thought.
Obviously, there are no other teams that can say they're undefeated, but they're also not very many teams that can say confidently that they haven't played their best football, and they're still in this position as a top team in their division and in the conference. So to me, that's encouraging. I like the fact that we have not arrived yet, and we're just in week 8 going into week 9.
This is where I would disagree with Danon just a little bit. I think the Chiefs are actually playing really close to their best in a lot of different ways. I just think that their best looks different than how it usually is. This is the comparison that I'll make. Kobe and Tim Duncan played in the NBA at the exact same time. They had a lot of the same success. Kobe got 5 rings. Tim Duncan's got 5 rings. Tim Duncan won MVP. Kobe won MVP. 2 all-time great, iconic players, arguably the best to ever play their position in the NBA. But they both did it very, very differently, but were incredibly effective at what they do. This Chiefs team is playing kind of similar to how they played in the postseason. This team's not playing much different than how they played on the road at Buffalo last year and won that game in the postseason. This team is not playing much different than how they did on the road against the Baltimore Ravens to go to the Super Bowl. This is not much different than how they played in the Super Bowl just 6 months ago or 8 months ago now against the San Francisco 49ers. The Chiefs, honestly, they only really have one flaw. It's turnover differential. That is the only flaw that the Chiefs have. It doesn't make sense how the Chiefs keep winning in the face of turnover differential. For all the stuff that we talk about in the NFL, about this team needs to do this and this team needs to do that, the number one indicator of who wins an NFL game is turnover differential. The Chiefs are minus 14 since the beginning of last year's regular season, and they are 22-6 over those games. That's not realistic. The Chiefs were minus 11 last year in the turnover differential and won the Super Bowl. That is not normal. So whatever flaws you think the Chiefs have, they had those exact same flaws a year ago. They did. They had the exact same flaws. The team was banged up in certain situations. You were waiting on certain guys to develop. You had the same questions about the offensive line, the same questions about the wide receiver. The Chiefs are kind of the same. They just continue to find a way to win, that it is just going to look different than how it did in 2019 or 2020. In 2020, they were Kobe. They could go for 81. They could score 30 points in 12 consecutive games and break an NBA record. It was a flashy Kansas City Chiefs team. Now it's a lot like Tim Duncan. They're going to go out there. They're going to score 25 points. They're going to have 12 rebounds. They're going to have 7 assists. They're not really going to say much about it, and they're just going to keep winning. And you're going to be like, wait, how? How did they do this? Tim Duncan's game was not flashy at all. It's one of the most effective games that we've ever seen. So I would just disagree with Danon a little bit. I think the Chiefs are playing pretty close to their best. I just think their best looks different now. They're not the team that in 2018 or 2019 could go on those third quarter runs that could completely bury you. You remember those Chiefs teams? It could be tied at halftime, and then in the third quarter, they would score 21 points unanswered, and they'd be up 31-10 heading into the fourth quarter. This team doesn't have that ability, but this team is going to beat you on the scorecard. They're going to win every single round, and at the end, you're going to look up, and it's like, wait, hold on. They won 11 of the 12 rounds. They had one knockout, and this was a dominant performance. That's how this version of the Kansas City Chiefs looks like.
I think it's something that I struggle with. Maybe not the flashiness, but what used to be an avalanche hitting teams. We often on this show made the comparison. They were the Warriors. We watch a lot of NBA basketball, Carrington. There were a lot of times when the Warriors were the Splash Brothers and they were up and going. They were the 73-win team. It would be like a 6-point game, and then Curry would hit a 3, then you'd have a turnover, then Thompson hits a 3, and then the crowd gets into it, and then you miss a layup, and then Curry hits a deep, deep 3. He looks away, the crowd's bananas, and you look up and you're like, we're down 15, and the game was over. That's what the Chiefs did, people. There was an avalanche, and it was over, and you couldn't stop it. You felt it just suffocating you. I think I struggle to understand the new Chiefs because I feel like a part of my brain thinks because they're not doing that to teams anymore, they're playing with fire a little bit. Because they have had 5 of their 7 games this year been one-possession wins. That's a little bit of playing with fire. They're not running away from people. They're not even really, hey, it's a safe distance victory. they do have a minus turnover differential, which when you're not avalanching teams and you're playing with fire could backfire eventually. So I personally have struggled with this new look Chiefs, for lack of a better term, because it feels like, for your boxing analogy, when you go to the card and when you go to the judges to make the decision, there's a chance you lose. They were Tyson in their prime for a long time, knocking everyone out. No judge required. Now they're Floyd Mayweather. We think they're winning. We feel like they're winning handily, but you feel like it's not what it used to be, and that because of that, it feels like there's a larger chance you could slip up.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want to read this text really quickly, and I don't say this as a knock towards Patrick Mahomes at all. C-Dot, once the passing game gets all the way in sync to go with the defense and Kareem gets in football shape, Pat's going to slow down on the interceptions now that they have D-Hop. Patrick Mahomes over the last 23 games. So this is last season. I know we don't take regular season stats. I'm simply giving you what the regular season stats are. So since he won MVP, because he won MVP in 2022, right? Since Patrick Mahomes won MVP, he has thrown 35 touchdown passes and has 23 interceptions. He has thrown on average, since he won MVP, he has thrown on average an interception every game. Some of these problems with the Chiefs that we have seen are not new problems with Kansas City. The turnovers were an issue last year with Kansas City. They have a negative turnover differential right now, and they're still undefeated. So I'm not saying like there's some big problem or the sky is falling. I'm just saying is we have seen enough regular season Chiefs football over the last year and a half to kind of know what they are and what they're not. And I don't really know that over the course of the next month, they are going to hit some different gear, and it is going to stylistically look much different than what it is. I'm going to guess on Monday night, it looks the exact same way that it's looked. Sure, you'll get a little bit more from D-Hop, but that means you're going to take a little bit away from Kelsey. You'll take a little bit from here, a little bit from there, a little bit. I think we kind of know what the Chiefs' formula is. It really, to me, comes down to, are they going to turn the ball over? You remember last year in the postseason, I kept saying it. The Chiefs still have a chance. They just cannot keep turning the ball over in the postseason. In the postseason, they protected the football. They won all of their postseason games. That's really the biggest thing. But this team, to me, stylistically, I understand it's because of injuries. This team today, the team, I guess, a couple days ago, the team that played the Raiders is not much different than the team that played the Bills or the team that beat San Francisco in the Super Bowl. They stylistically are about the same. They ran the football very effectively with Isaiah Pacheco. They won it with great defense, and they picked their spots with their weapons. And Pat was Pat, even in the face of the numbers that I just gave you. Over the last 23 games, 35 touchdown passes and 23 interceptions. They still have those one or two drives a game where it's, yeah, he's still really good. That they go down the field. After the goal line stop on Sunday, their next two drives, they scored 10 points, and that was the end of the game. Like, whenever the Chiefs really need to flex, they have been able to do that just about every single time this year, and I just don't think that characteristic is changing much with the Chiefs. Coming up on the other side, there was a wide receiver name that still interests me a little bit with the Chiefs. We'll talk about him. I'll tell you who it is. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
When you have an expert financial partner invested in you, you can't help but feel like a star. Like the new graduate opening their first investment account, the small business owner proudly adding a new location, or the young couple buying their first home. At Community America, we're invested in helping members achieve financial peace of mind with products and services tailored to each stage of life. Member owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
The nightmare stories are all too common with home services companies. Shoddy workmanship, subpar materials, or everyone's favorite, getting halfway done with the job and taking a 2-month break. So, if you need to replace your windows, siding, or doors, you could spend hours online researching companies. Or you can start with the perfect company and call Thermo King. With over 25 years selling and installing energy-efficient windows, James Hardy siding, and the most beautiful entry doors available, Thermo King will make your home project hassle-free and easy. Their triple glass replacement windows will save you money on your energy bills. Their James Hardy siding will last decades, and their entry doors will make your guests say, "Holy cow!" Right now, you can save thousands on replacement windows, siding, or a new entryway door. Great financing plans are available to make paying for your project easy. Get the process started today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermalkingwindows.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down. 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait. This rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Let's face it. Nowadays, most companies have to rely on dozens of expensive, disconnected platforms to run their business. And even then, things can get a little, well, stressful. But with Odoo's all-in-one management software, packed with a suite of fully integrated business applications, every process is streamlined. Tasks are automated, and success is just a few clicks away. See how Odoo can take your business to the next level at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Let's bring the nail gun over here.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Join 96.5 The Fan and Bud Light for the Fans Football Show with Mitchell Schwartz or Sean Barber and Jay Binkley every Friday this football season starting at 6 at participating Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Enjoy $5 talls, prizes, and Chiefs gear. For a list of locations, go to 965thefan.com. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic's brought to you by Metro Ford, online at kcmetroford.com. A collision downgraded to a stalled car. This is southbound 35 just past Levee, but we still have some backups behind it. Slow in the southern lanes of the downtown loop and out of the 435 and 70 exchange if you're headed eastbound on 70. Want more from your dealership? At Metro Ford, every new vehicle comes with a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. Family owned, just 10 minutes from downtown and packed with unbeatable value. Drive smarter only at Metro Ford, online at kcmetroford.com. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Chiefs fans, it's Justin Reed. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home of Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
A couple of World Series stats before we get back to the Chiefs. I saw this last night. Did you know that Aaron Judge He has struck out on 47% of his at-bats this postseason. You know how wild that is? Think about all the different forms of outs that you can have in baseball. 47% of the time, he is just striking out. That's not counting a ground out or a pop-up in the infield or a hard-hit fly ball that gets caught in the gap. No, this is just striking out this postseason. He has struck out on 47% of his at-bats so far this postseason. I also saw this stat, Rob. This one just popped up on my timeline. Did you know that Zach Greinke has a career 2 hits in the World Series, and Aaron Judge has 1? So
that's a good stat.
If you want to know how things are going right now for the New York Yankees, that is all you need to know. Aaron Judge is striking out on 47% of his ABs, and he currently has less hits all time in the World Series than Zach Greinke, who is a pitcher.
Do you see that highlight last night of Giancarlo Stanton trying to run? It looked like that man was in quicksand coming around third base. Like it was honestly hilarious. But that series is over, right? You're not giving the Yankees any chance. So they at least extend it tonight, or is it done?
No. I mean, they're done. They've been done. You know what it kind of feels like with the Yankees, and I feel bad because the Royals are in this conversation. The Yankees are like the team that beat up on like a mid-major conference, and now they got to play teams outside their conference, and we just see, oh, that team really wasn't that good. Like they kind of skated by on like a weak schedule, and now they got to go play Georgia in a non-con game, and now Georgia is putting the brakes to those boys. That's kind of what it looks like. Yeah, you guys beat the Royals and the Guardians in the postseason. And now you got to play the Dodgers. All right, it's one thing to push around the Royals offense. Why don't you do that same thing to Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman? Why don't you do that to them? And they are not capable of pushing the Dodgers around. The Dodgers are about to sweep those boys. I also want this to be a lesson. Hey, these athletes, man, they be trying to stay in one location. Mike Trout, you really cheated us. We've got to see Shohei Ohtani over the course of the last month. And Mike Trout, you just continue to live anonymous and eat Subway sandwiches in the commercial. You really cheated us over the last decade. You should have done what Shohei did. Shohei had an opportunity to leave and get away from those boys, and he couldn't wait to go play for a winner. Look at it. He's about to get rewarded. Staying in one location doesn't pay off. I'm serious. It doesn't pay off.
I mean, sometimes it does. It's situational. The Angels are a dysfunctional organization.
Who does it help if you stay that long? Eventually,
I mean, I can argue Patrick Mahomes stayed that long, and it's worked out.
He won his second year as I'm talking.
He's not going anywhere.
Okay, but I'm saying is if you're Kevin Garnett and you've been there 10 years, and then you weren't winning, and then you finally go somewhere else, at least it wasn't nearly. Travis Kelce was at least going to the postseason before Patrick Mahomes got here. He was having success. Sure, he wasn't winning championships. The Chiefs were at least contending, winning their division, making the postseason.
I'm trying to think of a person who stuck it out and got rewarded at the
end. Most of the time, if you leave later on in your career, Tony Gonzalez leaving later in your career was great. Zach Greinke left. It worked out great for him. CeCe Sabathia left. Worked out great for him. Kevin Garnett left. Worked out. Most of the time, leaving is what you should do. You know when it's over.
I mean, Dwayne Wade, does that one count? He won early in his career, too.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you don't win early in your career and you try to stick it out. It's going to get better. I trust the organization. You know, the only person I can say it worked out for is Billy Butler. And then when they really, really got good, they got rid of him the next year. Yeah, he might be the only person. That might be the only person in the history of things to stick it around, and he actually has a positive story about it. No, leave in free agency.
I'm trying to. I can't even know off the top of my head. That was like, it's either you get a ring early with the team that drafts you, and then you're a lifer, or you got to get out.
Yeah, or you don't get it.
I think Shohei got out a little early. I think Shohei could have got one there, but
wow, they've never made the postseason when he was there. They never had a winning record when he was playing for the Angels. They was eventually going to get one win. He looked over and saw Mike Trout. His body's falling apart. And he's like, no, I'm not going to let you guys do this to me. Look, my elbow doesn't work. I'm popping my shoulder out of the socket. I'm at least going to win while I'm doing all of this. Good for Shohei. I'm telling you, good. Don't stay on that miserable team your whole life. Eventually, go win. Go give yourself a chance. Speaking of going to give yourself a chance, that's what Darius Slayton should do. He has tried to stay loyal to the New York Giants. They're terrible. They're not going anywhere. Once again, he's good friends with Daniel Jones. They're about to get rid of Daniel Jones. Darius Slayton, come play for the Chiefs.
He is as good a guy as I've been around in the NFL in my 6 years. So there's no he might quit on the team. He's been through losing. He knows exactly how to play hard through hard times. He is very well liked around the Giants. So they won't be in any kind of rush to move him, but business is business at the end of the day. He's not going to be on the team next year, and the Giants made a mistake last year not moving Saquon Barkley and Xavier McKinney and losing them in free agency to nothing. So they need to learn from that mistake.
I do wonder if a team's going to go grab Slayton. Slayton would make a lot of sense to go grab in terms of his contract. So he is a free agent at the end of this year. His base salary is $2.5 million. He got a roster bonus that's already been paid out. The Giants pay the roster bonus. He also had a roster bonus for being on their team. They gave him a lot of money up front. I'm not 100% sure what his number's going to be once you add all of these things in, the roster bonus, the workout bonus. He also got a workout bonus. Can you imagine you got $350,000 to go through non-contact football drills? What a life. The NFL players, they got that thing figured out. His base salary is $2.5 million. You can go get Darius Slayton for the cheap if you're in another team. You can go get him for the cheap. I don't know what team is going to be the one that goes out there and does it. Maybe it's Kansas City. Maybe it's not Kansas City. Tampa Bay could end up being a team that could do it. Maybe the Texans end up being a team that does it now with them having some injuries, with Nico Collins being out right now and Diggs with the torn ACL, so he's out for the rest of the year. I know you guys will make fun of me for saying this. You know where Slayton would actually make a lot of sense? The Chargers. The Chargers would make a lot of sense to go get Darius Slayton with their wide receiver room. They don't have a whole lot, especially as a team that has a chance to make the postseason. Darius Slayton, there's about 4 or 5 teams that make a lot of sense for a reliable, low-cost, very productive player that could step in immediately and help your team. That'd be great in the locker room and great for morale. Darius Slayton should be off of the team by this time next week.
I would love to see Darius Slayton be a Chief, but I don't know that wide receiver is still the biggest need for the Chiefs anymore. This could change on Thursday because the injury report, hey, cornerback looking healthier again. That's fine. I would like Darius Slayton, the player on the Chiefs, but as their cornerback room looks more and more like their receiver room, thin, I don't know I want them making a Slayton move unless they start to get a little more healthy in the back end, because a lot of what they do is built around good defensive back play, and having your 6th or 7th corner out there, it's just hard to have good defensive back play.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I think kind of like left tackle, like let's say you want the Chiefs to go out and shore up the tackle situation. You are not finding a starting left tackle in November. That's just not the way the NFL works. You know what I say? There are March and April problems, and those are the times to deal with it. If you don't have a left tackle, March and April are the time to address that, either in free agency or the NFL draft. Go find you one. They're available. You're not improving from Wanye Morris or Kingsley Suamataia at the trade deadline. No, you make it work with those individuals. Coach them up, give them some help out there, adjust, scheme around it. But those are your left tackles. Are you really making a drastic? Because if the Chiefs go pick up a corner, let's go down this. If they go pick up a corner, they are getting a 32-year-old corner with injury history.
Or they're getting someone else's Najee Johnson. Yeah. Late round pick. Agreed. That, hey, contract might be expiring soon. Mike Hughes, we couldn't get the most out of you. You can have a shot in the dark. Why not?
I think they already have Mike Hughes on their roster, though. So I don't want them to just trade an asset to go get something that they already have on their team. They have a bunch of those kind of guys on their team. A Najee Johnson, a Wallace. They've got a couple of those kind of guys on their team. If they're not interested in maybe going to get a Trey White, for example, and I don't think he would be the name, that's the kind of player that I think you're talking about. But he's a player that comes with a significant injury history. Like, it's sort of buyer beware when you're looking at the deadline. Think about all the players that we've seen move. Amari Cooper has red flags. DeAndre Hopkins has red flags. Deontay Johnson has red flags. We think Trey White could get moved. He has red flags. Like, that's kind of what's available now at the deadline. It's from a losing team that they're trading off parts. It's usually going to be a guy that they don't want to re-sign, and they'll take pennies for the dollar. Like, there is a reason why something is out on the curb. Like, it's usually not in the greatest quality. The owner is trying to get rid of it, and that's kind of what the trade deadline is, with a little bit nicer stuff. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
When it comes to financial goals, everyone has that one thing you want to accomplish. Raise your credit score, give your kitchen a well-deserved glow-up, or eliminate credit card debt. At Main Street Credit Union, your main thing, well, that's our thing. It's what we're passionate about, helping you achieve your main thing. So bring us your wants, your needs, and your goals. We'll provide you with the tools to achieve them. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
After my car wreck, there was a lot I didn't know.
I do know. My team knows injury law. We can help you understand all of your legal rights so that you don't get cheated.
DM Law knew what to do and got me $500,000.
Mike's got this.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. This year, I get to host, and Hy-Vee's going to make it convenient for me. They have made fresh, ready to heat and serve favorites like succulent turkey, honey glazed spiral ham, prime rib, savory side dishes, and dessert. Hy-Vee's Taste of the Holidays event is coming up Saturday, November 2nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can sample all of the amazing ready-to-serve meal pack options or just get a little holiday inspiration. This holiday season, let Hy-Vee do the cooking while you take the credit, only at Hy-Vee.
Score big savings with Hy-Vee and the Kansas City Chiefs. Big points mean even bigger savings. Just shop Hy-Vee the day after a game and earn a fuel saver discount equal to the Chiefs score and based on the amount you spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, you save 42 cents a gallon with any $42 purchase. The more we score, the more you save. Win or lose, everyone scores the day after a Chiefs game only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
If you've been thinking about selling your home, what's holding you back? Whether it's a bad experience or even a lack of experience, home selling can be stressful. The key is to trust an expert who has your best interest at heart, and that's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Dawn is the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home, and she can even give you an instant offer if you want to skip the showings. Google my friend Dawn and her team at Sharp Homes Team and see over 200 5-star reviews, or check them out at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing.
At Shane Company, we make finding your perfect engagement ring fun and easy. Because let's be honest, you might feel a little stressed out. We get it. That's why we do all the hard stuff. It's our job to bring you the biggest selection of beautiful diamonds and colorful gemstones, so many amazing settings, and all the customization your heart desires. We've got your style and your price range covered, and we're here to guide you every step of the way. Come in for a warm welcome and leave with your dream ring and an experience you'll never forget. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others.
That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest. We believe.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic's brought to you by Metro Ford, online at kcmetro4.com. The collision downgraded to a stalled car. This is southbound 35 just past Levee, but we still have some backups behind it. Slow in the southern lanes of the downtown loop and out of the 435 and 70 exchange if you're headed eastbound on 70. Want more from your dealership? At Metro Ford, every new vehicle comes with a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. Family owned, just 10 minutes from downtown and packed with unbeatable value. Drive smarter only at Metro Ford, online at kcmetro4.com. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Patrick Mahomes joins CDOT every week during the season, right here on 96.5 The Fan.
All right. Sometimes the last segment of the show is really just like a brain dump. There's like all these things that either happened or I'm thinking, and it's the last segment of the show. You guys will be shocked to know that this is the least listened to segment of the show. You know, you're usually at your destination by now. So sometimes this just turns into these are just random things that I am thinking. Number one, I went to my daughter's field trip earlier today. So, Rob and I didn't have as much time in the morning, at least in person. We kind of talked on the phone and did all that, but I went to her field trip. So they went to this little ranch. It was like a little fun fall activity. And the reason I'm telling you guys this is if you have a teacher in your life in any way, I want you to tell that person how much you appreciate them, because I have a newfound love and appreciation, or renewed, maybe is a great way of saying it. I always had it, but just a renewed appreciation. It's one thing to just be around your own little one. It's another thing when you're around 17 of just like you. And they ask you a bunch of questions, and then you answer them, and then they just say why. And then, have you ever asked a kid, like a kid has asked you so many questions, and eventually you just get kind of tired? I don't know. That's just because of how it is. That's how they are. They'll ask you a bunch of stuff. They ask you to open stuff, and they're kids. So Rob, what happened earlier was, so at this little fall place, they had like a little corn pit. I had never really seen a lot of these before. I usually don't do these kind of fall activities. But the little one was like, come jump in the thing with me. I was like, all right, cool. I'll come over there. So I took my shoes off, and I'm walking in there. And I was thinking, what if you lost your keys or your phone here, you're done. Somebody has lost their keys or phone in the little corn pit. What, is it just gone forever? What do you do in that scenario, Rob? Is just you never get your keys back? You never get your phone back?
Based on the society we live in, I believe you would sue the corn pit for all they're worth.
Yeah, I don't know. I was
car
thinking,
and phone are gone forever.
I was like, I don't want to be in this situation. I'm moving, and nah, bro. Nah, I'm not about to let that happen to me. So before we get in the corn pit, Rob, the first thing they tell the kids is there's, normal rules. Number one rule, don't throw the corn. Because, it can get in your eye. You never know what could happen, right? Don't throw the corn. All these kids are 4 and 5. What do you think the first thing they're going to do is? They're going to throw the corn around. They're having like corn fight with each other like they're snowballs. They're trying to bury each other in the corn. They were making like little corn angels, like snow angels. They were doing a lot. One kid was doing the LeBron chalk toss with the corn. It was a lot of calamity going on. And eventually the teacher told them to get out of the pit, right? Like they were kids. They were told them to get out of the pit. So while the kids were getting out of the pit, I went up to one of the teachers and I was like, so you do this every day? She was like, yeah. How's that going? It's gotta be stressful. Like, man, I love it. She said it with so much joy and enthusiasm. I was asking follow-up questions like, for real? Like, how do you do this? How long have you been doing this for? Oh, like 7, 8 years. I went to college. She telling me her whole backstory. I'm learning. I'm intrigued by this whole thing. I was like, wait, hold on. You just got the patience to do this? I even made a joke. I was like, there has to be some days you just go home and you go to bed at like 7 o'clock. She's like, no, I just love it so much. And I was like, man, I told her, you're one of God's angels. You're an amazing human being. I don't know how you do this every day. So I'm telling you guys this story because I don't know if you have a teacher in your life. Maybe you are a teacher, or your wife's a teacher, or your girlfriend's a teacher, your partner, whoever in your life is a teacher. I want you to tell them today how much you appreciate them, because I'm a big believer that like nobody really understands how hard anybody else's job is. Like I know that you guys think that tomorrow you could just do my job. But if you came and tried to do it after about 2 segments, you'd be like, man, that's actually a lot harder than I thought it was. I'm like, yeah, I kind of know it's a little bit harder than that. I also think I would feel the same way about your job. Like I'd show up and about noon, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I had that moment today with the teachers. So I just wanted to tell you guys that story that teachers, they deserve a lot more credit and a lot more love than I think we give them. They're amazing.
Especially of that age of children. That's like, what's the term, herding cats? That's what that is. Although I have one of my in-laws used to sub, and they say middle school's the absolute worst. Just, you can't win, don't try.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about that time. I'm kind of at the point that I should have known this before, but you just don't really know until you know. The most frustrating thing about kids is just you have to tell them the same thing like 6 times, almost every time. Doesn't matter. Like it could be the small thing or the big thing. Like you're gonna have to tell them multiple times. I don't know. You think you tell them once that's gonna be sufficient, that's gonna suffice. No, it is never going to suffice. You're gonna have to tell them 3 times. Hey, can you go put your shoes on? They'll start running around watching Baby Shark. Hey, can you go put your shoes on? Hey, we can't leave until you put your shoes on. That's 82% of your conversations with the kid. 82% is that right there. All right. I had a lot of fun today. Hopefully you had a lot of fun today. Special thanks to the field trip. I had a great time at the field trip. Who's coming up after me?
K-State Hoops.
Hey, who they got tonight?
Fort Hays State.
Oh, the exhibition. Never mind. It's the Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.